It's time to add some spice to your nooner. Nooner funny. This is the place where big-time guests, bold opinions, and little cute doggies come together. This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus. Windows and doors that go beyond.
All right, welcome aboard, Rothman and Ice. The Iceman is on ice. So to my right, longtime friend Austin Ward, Ohio State football beat reporter, dotting the I's and the podcast, and of course the fan A-Dub in the house. Good to see you, my man.
Great to be here. This is the first time we've done this. AR, what have we been waiting for?
I don't know, man. Listen, I don't know. I was out of town this week. Half the time, I don't know who's off and when we're going to be off. And all of a sudden, you're on the schedule, and my eyes lit up. I was happy to see you. So good to embark on this. Hopefully, it won't be our last.
I hope not.
Yeah.
This is my 3-hour tryout. I've passed on the morning juice.
Okay.
I've got a passing grade. I'm invited back there. Timmy Hall will have me back on the Buckeye Show, I hope.
Yeah, well, he's brass now, so he makes all the decisions.
But this is my first shot here. This is the call up to the big leagues.
Yes, the call up to the midday. Very nice. Yes, you've graduated. All right, good to have you. We'll do 3 hours, a little lazy river, I like to call it. And we'll have Jason B. Hirschhorn on today. So he's bottom of the hour, 12:33. Big NFL guy, award-winning writer. He created The Leap, the Packers newsletters, but we'll do all the big headlines with him at 12:33. Justin Zwick, former Ohio State quarterback, certainly knows what quarterback battles are all about. Came out of high school at Orville, went to Massillon, obviously became one of the bigger names in Ohio football history to come to Ohio State out of high school. Very curious. I'm sure he's been asked this before, but I'll ask him again. If he could just get in that time machine, get in that DeLorean and go back and be as heralded as he was coming out of high school in this day and age. Where do you sign? Ooh. Could somebody have wooed him away from Buckeye land? But we'll ask him.
It's possible.
Yeah.
And also in this day and age, would he have stuck around after Troy Smith got the job? I would say probably not.
Yeah, the portal would probably be calling his name. All right, and then it's a Gold Jacket Thursday. So we'll go up to Canton at 2:33, and this will be probably at this point the oldest Hall of Famer I've talked to during the Gold Jacket Thursdays, but obviously full of incredible stories. So Bobby Bell is his name. Bobby Bell played for the Kansas City Chiefs in the early 60s into the 70s. And if you don't know much about him, please listen to 233, because he is considered perhaps the best outside linebacker who ever played. Went to the Hall of Fame, but his story is remarkable. And his story is this. Small-town kid, Shelby, North Carolina. Couldn't go to the Big N Staters, all segregated. Couldn't go to Duke. Couldn't go to NC State. Couldn't go to any of those, North Carolina. And winds up going to the University of Minnesota, of all places. So he goes up north, and he goes there as a quarterback. Played quarterback in high school. But when he played in high school, it was like six-man football. It wasn't 11 on 11, it was six-man. And he gets noticed. I mean, think about how do you get noticed in the early 60s in Shelby, North Carolina, a little town, go up to Minnesota. So he goes up to Minnesota, and he goes there as a quarterback. They convert him to an offensive lineman. He goes on to win the Outland, and he's third in the Heisman. All right? And then a guy named, remember, we have the AFL and NFL going on right now, right? The AFL is considered this clown league, right? They're not the NFL. And Lamar Hunt, who we all know here in Columbus, obviously, Lamar Hunt, I believe, was involved with Dallas. I mean,
the Dallas Texans.
Yeah,
right?
got all his money, like a lot of oil money, and goes with Dallas. And then Dallas has this team, and he has to move, and he has to find a place where he can put a team that is close to Texas, where he could commute. And they pick Kansas City. And he's like, you know what? To hell with all this. I'm going to go get as many players as I can. Black, white, I don't care. And they go and get Bobby Bell. Was supposed to sign with my Vikes because he went to Minnesota. Didn't. And he goes to Kansas City. And then all of a sudden, he's turned into this defensive end, and Hank Stram's playing this 4-3 stack, or they're dropping a linebacker, and he is a light for a line. He's like 230, but he's 6'4", 6'5", and absolutely just chiseled. And he's an incredible athlete, fast, can hit, do anything. He wound up being a long snapper as well for them. Jeez. There wasn't a place they could. So he and Lenda, think about this like battery of football extra points. Bobby Bell snapping to Len Dawson, who's holding for Jan Stenerud. Like, that's who they were. They wound up going to play in the first Super Bowl and losing to the Packers. And then they come back a few years later and beat my Vikes in Super Bowl IV as a massive underdog with Hank Stram. And that's kind of his story. He'll be on at 2:33 to tell us more about going all the way to the Hall of Fame. I do want to give a little shout out to the Memorial Tournament today. The Memorial Tournament, on their Twitter page today, they tweeted out a set of eyeball emojis. This was an hour ago. So
they're getting better at this, aren't they?
You know what? It caught my eye. So I started thinking about who it could be or who it might be, maybe in a grouping. My gut is this is going to be a fairly big day for the Memorial as far as checking the boxes they don't already have checked. So I was going through my list. So they have Rory. Victor's coming back to defend. They have Cantlay. They have Morikawa. They have Thagala, who played well at PGA. They have Ricky's coming. And I started looking at who they don't have right now. So they don't have a commitment from Xander yet. They don't have a commitment from Jordan Spieth. Now, I don't think they have any indication that they're not coming. They just don't have the confirmation of it. Max Homa, Zalatoris, Wyndham Clark. And then the one that really jumps out to me is, wait a minute. I don't think they have the number one player in the world yet.
That's the one that I'm drawn to.
The guy that was in an orange jumpsuit for an hour or so. Now, I think social media is saying, oh, it's got to be
Surely not.
It can't be, only because, well, it's right for the Open. This is the toughest golf course to walk, I think, on tour. And if he wants to try to play the Open, coming here the week before wouldn't happen. The other thing I would say, and I don't know this, but I would say he doesn't even qualify for a signature event now.
If he asks, I'm sure
Yes.
the PGA Tour Policy Board is going to say, well, there are certain spots available, exemptions for, I don't know, Hall of Famers, greatest of all time.
Multiple champs at that course.
Yeah. So,
but no.
He could, but that's, again, you're starting to bend the rules for the signature events, which they've already had such a hard time trying to determine who's in these fields. You're going to, flip them over every couple of months and give new opportunities. Like, that feels unlikely to me.
Very unlikely.
Yeah.
I would think. And because if they had already announced Scheffler and they put out the eye emojis, I'd be like, okay, wait a minute. They're probably not putting out eye emojis for Max Homa, as good as he is. Now, I guess you could put out eye emojis for Xander Schauffele because he just won the PGA Championship.
He's still not a needle mover, really, in my opinion.
He's not a double eye emoji?
Not a double eye emoji.
Okay.
Like the world number one or the guy with 15 majors. Those are worth eye emojis.
Yeah.
And the other part, like, just think about it from Tiger's perspective, Rothman, like, is he going to be able to do it back-to-back weeks? The way that the schedule is set up, I think he would love to play the Memorial and go back and, like, the history and everything he's accomplished and be around Jack, but his body simply won't allow that. Based on what I've seen, I'm only Tiger can answer that, but based on what we've all watched, that seems highly unlikely.
Highly. I know that it'd be fun to think about, but I wouldn't do that. I would lean more towards, but I do feel like today is a day, and I was going through the official World Golf Rankings, and I feel like this would be a day that they could really jump in on post PGA and say, hey, we've got the number one. Like right now they have the number 3 player, because Scottie and Xander are 1 and 2. So, and right now they don't have confirmation on either one of those guys. So that could be a little double eye emoji if they package them together today. They have Rory, as I mentioned, he's 3. Wyndham Clark, they don't have yet. He's 4. Victor, they have as 5. Ludwig Åberg, they don't have the Swedish phenom. I wonder what's happening with him. Rahm, they wouldn't have because of Liv. Cantlay, they have. Morikawa, they have. Max Homa, they don't. So I just mentioned to you the top 10, and right now, if you just exclude Jon Rahm, they don't have 1, 2, 3, 4. And so this today could be big.
You got a double eye emoji. You just put out. You put Scottie, Xander, double it up, and then say, hey, you know what? We're just going to make a threesome with Rory McIlroy. Let's throw that out.
Oh, not spread out the grounds.
No,
just have
one marquee
thousands
group.
of people right
Come
there.
watch, baby. Trample it down on Thursday and Friday.
We're going all in.
Because, it's a signature event. It's not like you're going to have marquee groups. So how about make the marquee group?
Well, I was talking about people coming and not going to the tournament as far as players, and I had to kind of hit myself in the head and say, wait a minute, it's a signature event. The money is so massive, and remember, it's a smaller field, 70-ish players here. And so why, if you could and you qualify, why wouldn't you? There's a $4 million prize.
There's a pretty good incentive to be there.
Yeah. So, and here's what we'll do. So Dan Sullivan's the tournament director. Why don't we see what he's up to? Because they haven't broken this news yet.
He's working the phones over here.
Let's try to do something this hour. I'll see if he's available. Hop on. Why not break it on our show?
I mean,
forget
what better
these
place
press
to be?
releases and stuff. All right, so there's your. By the way, if it is Scheffler, you think about how this story right now, but the dominating nature of Scottie Scheffler right now, and I know this is very inside golf because he's not Tiger Woods, he's not Jack Nicklaus. I get it. Well, you think about what he's done. He's the first back-to-back Player of the Year guy since Tiger. If you think about these stats, since he came on tour in 2019, not that long ago. He has 39 top 5s and 53 top 10s. And he's won 2 Masters, and he hasn't finished outside the top 20 this year. That's who he is.
Including in a weekend when he was in jail.
Yeah.
Which is one of the more remarkable accomplishments on that list, in my opinion.
So there's really no update on that other than his attorney, who he hired in Louisville, quoted today saying, our position remains the same. It will either be dismissed or we will go to trial. All we're waiting on, honestly, and there's no body cam. It sounds like there isn't a body cam for this. So we have no idea whether he complied or didn't comply, or whether this was a complete misunderstanding. Hey, I've gone here. This is where I'm supposed to be going. And this police officer was there and decided, hey, you'll go when I tell you can go. We're dealing with something up here. Don't do anything. And then he thought, well, maybe I can make it, or I'm supposed to go here, right? So each guy has his own story. But what we're waiting on here, honestly, is I would say, if there were injuries to this police officer.
Right.
It sounded like he was taken to the hospital. And if it was because of negligence from Scheffler, then I don't know if it just gets absolutely dismissed. I feel like the injuries weren't that big, and obviously they want to save a little face if things went a little too aggressive than they should. Then all of a sudden he pays a little citation, he pays a fine, maybe he goes on probation. They drop the felony, second, assault felony, and then we move forward. It feels like that's where it's going, but I wouldn't know this I have no idea whether if he did really hit the officer with the car, mistake or no mistake. I don't know. And that's kind of, I think, where we stand.
But think about the pants. They're destroyed. $80 pants. There's no saving them. They didn't go to the hospital. They're dead. They were returning. They were pronounced dead on the scene.
They were.
Those pants are gone.
Yeah. And listen, we've been around this before. I mean, I've seen enough body cams. There are so many people that if they just would comply, everything would go fine. And then there are other sides of it where if the police officer if they would just be open to listening to what's happened, listening a little bit. And then, but listen, there's a lot going on there. There was a fatality. I get maybe he was involved, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was just thrown onto the scene, and this is blocked off and no one's going. I don't care who you are, what credential you have. This is my job, and that's kind of what happened, I feel.
It does make me a little bit more appreciative. I get frustrated sitting in traffic every Saturday on the way to the Horseshoe. You have hundreds of officers down there trying to make sure it's as smooth as possible, and nobody likes it. It's difficult, but I've not been a part of something quite like this, and I've certainly been on the road and I'm going the wrong direction and need help from those officers. Like, it is pretty impressive that most times you don't see something like this. And that's what I think makes it even more bizarre that it happened specifically to Scottie Scheffler at the PGA Championship a week ago, because across the country, there's events like this going on and traffic patterns that are disrupted every single week.
Yeah. Well, if they are announcing Scheffler later today, if they are, then I'll volunteer to Dan to drive the courtesy car. We'll take him right out of the equation.
I mean,
I know the back roads.
I live in Northwest Columbus. I got a straight shot. I got about 3 miles to get to the village. I know how to get there as fast as possible.
All right, we're just getting underway. Friday nights, still reserved for a high school in Ohio? Could be. We'll give you the latest on that next. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
Chops his serial killer eyes, and Reeser can grow a full beard before lunch. What can your friends do? Bishop and Friends.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
The delicious ice-cold taste of Dr. Pepper has a lasting effect on people. Lindsay from Sacramento said,
Pro tip, 40 degrees is the perfect temperature for an ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
why is 40 degrees the perfect temperature for Dr. Pepper? We brought in Sue from Duluth, Minnesota to tell us.
Oh, yeah, I know a thing or two about cold. Oh, that right there is the perfect kind of ice cold for Dr. Pepper. I'd share that with my friend Nancy. She likes Dr. Pepper, too, you know. My cold
All
is...
right, that'll be all, Sue. Having a perfect temperature for your Dr. Pepper? It's a Pepper thing. Inspired by real fan posts.
Are you confident letting just anyone on the roof of your home? I'm Craig Schottenstein, owner of Schottenstein Roofing. Our team is dedicated to delivering outstanding value on every roof we repair or replace. Schottenstein Roofing. Go to schottensteinroofing.com.
Spring is a season full of new life and new opportunities to celebrate. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. Anniversaries, new babies, graduations, plus everything in between, discover the perfect gift for every occasion. Visit us at the Diamond Cellar on Sawmill Road or East in Townsend.
Billiards Plus has everything for the master griller in your house. Come to their showroom, open the lid, and feel the difference in their grills. Professional, top-quality equipment at great prices with a huge selection ready to go home with you. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Extend the life of your engine with regular oil changes and save at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, pick up 5 quarts of O'Reilly full synthetic motor oil and a MicroGuard oil filter for $31.99. Or upgrade to a MicroGuard Select filter for just $2 more. Limit supply, available in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Rise and shine, jabronis.
What a show this morning.
There's only one place where Buckeye legends lay the smackdown. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekday mornings starting at 6.
Give me a juice box, yeah.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
This is the absolute worst time of the year to be dealing with joint pain. You can't do the stuff outdoors you love, the stuff you want to do, the hiking, the running, the playing on the beach. It's being around friends and family. Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. If you're tired of achy joints, you need to call my friends over at QC Kinetics before you agree to any risky surgeries or steroids or harmful medications. That's what tens of thousands of real-life patients around the country did, just like me with my knee. My dad did with his knee. Some of our friends and family who have done it with knees and shoulders and a variety of joints. They're out walking around now, enjoying the time outside. Or you could be like a guy like Chad, who wants to live life to the fullest, but his knees have been bothering him. He's been on pain meds forever. He went to crutches on his high school reunion, but that was before he found QC Kinetics, and now he's bouncing around like the pain is gone. And QC Kinetics has a national director in Dr. Mitchell Sheencup, who's been doing this for over 20 years. So go check him out at 614-208-4544. That's 614-208-4544.
Wasteful Washington spending is driving up the price of everything in Ohio. Groceries, gas, housing. Senator Sherrod Brown has backed President Biden's agenda 97% of the time, including voting to allow spending tax dollars on illegal immigrants. Senator Brown voted to allow $500 million in COVID checks for illegals. And Brown voted in favor of taxpayer-funded health care for illegals granted amnesty, while some American citizens can't afford to see a doctor. Brown even voted with Biden to give illegal immigrants Social Security benefits for work done illegally. Call Senator Brown at 216-522-7272 and tell him to support S3578, the Protect Medicaid Act, and vote against reckless, out-of-control Washington spending on illegal immigrants. Ohio families need cheaper gas, food, and housing, not handouts to illegal immigrants who haven't played by the rules. Paid for by One Nation. www.onenationamerica.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Let's get a look at your weather report through the afternoon. We're going to go 80 degrees for the high under partly sunny skies. The best chance of rain will come between about 3 and 6 p.m. this evening. Tonight we get down to 65 degrees. Tomorrow, look for partly sunny skies. Slight chance of a pop-up shower with a high of 82. I'm Doppler 10 meteorologist Dylan Robichaud on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365 is the exclusive online sportsbook of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus. Windows and doors that go beyond.
All right, Anthony Rothman, Austin Ward today. Hope you guys are having a good one. I did see this today, and I don't know whether we should drop a hold-up play on this or whether it's permanent, but Fox announced their regular season Friday night schedule for college football.
A murderer's row.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's right. Who's starting? Arizona?
At Northwestern,
yeah.
Baby.
So now everyone is jumping to the conclusion, and maybe they're right, that Ohio State now is out of the woods. That Friday nights in Ohio reserved for high schools.
School football.
And that Ohio State will not have a Friday night regular season game in 2024 because they didn't appear on this college football Friday schedule. And then I started thinking, well, what about the Big Ten network? And wouldn't they have a chance if they wanted to say, and I'm looking at Ohio State's schedule right now, like who's playing on, you have the Fox schedule there, Who's playing on September 21st? I'm sorry,
on
the 20th.
That's Illinois at Nebraska.
Okay, so Illinois is playing Nebraska. On Fox, could the Big Ten network say, you know what? If we got a chance to get Ohio State, they're playing Marshall. Let's make the Buckeyes and the Herd the game on our network on Friday. Is that possible, or am I completely, or very unlikely, but possible? Where do you stand on it?
It's possible, but there are a lot of factors at play that make it unlikely. And one is Ohio State's tolerance. That came up a lot last year. Like they made some, I don't know. They gave a little ground to play some of those Michigan State games like late in the year, in prime time in November. They broke with some of those tolerances to help the broadcast partners and give them what they wanted for some flexibility. Now, on the back end, that means, well, okay, you get some help here. Maybe the next time you don't ask Ohio State. And so one of Ohio State's biggest holdups is night November games and Friday night football games. They have played a few. They opened the season there with the Minnesota one a couple of years back. They're willing to do that. Primarily, they want to do it, though, if it's a road game. So I think with these non-conference games, that's the Ohio State side.
Yeah.
Now, it could happen, to your point. It is theoretically possible. The other part is that the broadcast partners look at this and say, well, okay, we've decided already we're going to put Illinois and Nebraska on Fox. Do we want to eat at our own audience by having a much bigger draw, which is Ohio State against anybody?
Correct.
Is going to trump that? Do we want to put that on BTN and take away from Fox and hurt our broadcast partner? The answer is most likely not.
Yeah. All right. And that's the right answer. So the jump to conclusion is probably correct. That when Fox put out the schedule and Ohio State doesn't appear on it, that they're not going to somehow magically backdoor Ohio State onto the Big Ten network.
No. And I think that they're better off with those games on BTN on Saturdays and trying to find the right window, probably noon for those, but we'll see what happens. They've been known to get creative with it, and they've done some BTN primetime opportunities for those games that otherwise don't move the needle that much. You're just banking on Ohio State to be a draw, which they will be, no matter, even if that's Akron or Marshall or anything else. They're still going to draw a nice number. I think what I've been told, and it's been suggested to me, that starting next week after Memorial Day, Ohio State should start having some of these. Everybody else is having their fun. The only one that's currently nailed down for sure at this point is Big Noon for the game late November. But I think we're going to start hearing a couple more of these next week, Anthony.
Well, that'd be fun to find out, especially with some of the big games. But you're right. I mean, they have two. I don't know if you'd call Michigan State a fairly big game, but it is a road game, and it's going to be their first road game of the year. And then they'll go to Oregon, obviously, in mid-October, and then they'll go to Penn State in early November. What are we anticipating for the night games?
That's a great question, because you assume on the road at Penn State, well, that should qualify. But if that's another top 10 matchup, we know that Fox is going to jump on those weekends and those opportunities, and they love having them at noon. So it seems like less likely to me that would wind up there. I can sort of wrap my mind around Iowa being an opportunity for Ohio State to play in primetime. It doesn't leap off the page as one of the sexier matchups, but not every Ohio State game is going to wind up on Fox and on Big Noon. So NBC is going to want a piece. CBS is going to want a piece at some point. They all are going to want to put, this national title contender and the presumptive Big Ten favorite here in primetime. They're going to have to pass them around on the different networks. So you'd start narrowing it down. Which one of those might be somewhat less than Big Noon kickoff, but also better than, playing Indiana or, those traditional lower tier games. And those are the ones that elevate. I think there's a better chance than in the previous few trips to Happy Valley for that game to elevate to a primetime. And I think NBC would leap at the opportunity to like, hey, they've got a whiteout here and put that in primetime. So I can't dismiss that one as much as I normally would, but Fox, is going to fight tooth and nail for that. So the one that I just can't get out of my mind is Iowa.
Sounds about right. I mean, it feels like that would be a pretty good clash at night, and that'd be fine. I don't think anybody would have a real problem with that, other than the fact that if you're playing a night game the week before going to Eugene, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
You are burning some hours on the back end. If you're a coach, you'd rather have that thing put to bed at 3:30 and then be ready to go out to Eugene. That'd be the only issue I would have with it.
Yeah, you can look at this, though, and already see that it's so unwieldy. And so the date that you circle for that, like Oregon, a lot of other people have them as like Ohio State, Oregon. Those are the two best teams in the Big Ten right now. So you have that matchup for Ohio State at Oregon. That's on the 12th. And then you look at October 18th, a Friday night game. The Ducks have to turn around and go on the road to Purdue immediately after playing Ohio State on a Friday night game. So they're not bending over backwards to help anybody out. The schedule is what it is. Like, they are putting these games, and you see a lot of the newcomers, they're saddled with those Friday night opportunities, those windows. And Oregon's they kind of got the short end of the stick on that one.
Listen, let's be honest. It's not a good night to play a major college football game. It's just not. It's Friday night is not where everyone's mind is. It's not where you want to be locked in the home because you feel like you've got to be a prisoner to the television. It's just not. With Saturdays, we reserve for it. Obviously, in the road game, you're glued to it. Home games, you might be out there. But Friday nights, honestly, I know what drives this. You know what drives it. It's all about finding a spot where you can make more money and all that and have the big teams. But, yeah, we have gone to this area of collegiate sports where the TV executives are now in control. They have a very tight grip on all of this. And the money that's being provided to these programs, how can they turn it down?
You're telling me, you're not excited for Rutgers at USC on a Friday night banger on October 25th?
If there's nothing else on, of course. And I'm a big believer in if I can bet on it, I'll watch it. But I feel like, we've diluted the whole thing. It's usually it was, where's the big game? I'll find it. And listen, people probably yell, I don't have to watch it, right? You don't have to watch it. Somebody will.
Somebody will.
Yeah. And so that's all there is. So that's all we know now is that Ohio State is not slated for a Fox Friday night game this year. So that may be music to Buckeye fans' ears. When we come back, Jason B. Hirschhorn, co-founder of The Leap, the Packers newsletter. He's the award-winning NFL writer. We'll talk to him about the big off-season stories. And one of them is certainly the quarterback in Dallas. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
This offer is only available at Reichert Ford. 0% financing for 72 months on every 2023 Ford F-150 in stock. Take advantage of Reichert's rate before it's too late. Lock in your 0% rate and take a new truck home today. Thousands of vehicles are waiting at ReichertFord.com.
See dealer for details. N6324.
Exclusively at Reichert Ford. 0% for 72 months is now available on every new 23 F-150 in stock. Hundreds of trucks at ReichertFord.com. We're dealing. Save more this Memorial Day weekend. Only at Reichert. We're dealing.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar.
See for yourself when you sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Boat Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Safe Auto Insurance is now Direct Auto Insurance. What's the difference? Basically, the name. Direct Auto offers savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, just like you're used to, which means you never have to make trade-offs when it comes to paying for car insurance. So don't even think about carpooling to work with Talkative Ted. It's time to stop compromising and keep driving with Direct Auto. Get a free quote at directauto.com or call 1-877-GO-DIRECT. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Here's a quick listening guide. When something's on the fan, it's on the station you're listening to right now. If I say something's on ESPN Columbus, it's on 1460 AM and the Fan's HD2. When in doubt, stream it on the Fan app. Thank you and good night.
New 2024, up to 72 months Aria, up to 36 months Rogue, and 6/3/24.
Reichert Nissan has an announcement to make. 0% financing is now available for up to 72 months. Take a Reichert Nissan Aria home today and pay 0% for 72 months. But that's not all. Reichert Nissan also has 0% financing on Rogue 2. Visit the Reichert Mega Mall off 270 and 33 or shop thousands at ReichertNissan.com. Save more this Memorial Day weekend, only at Reichert. We're dealing.
With approved credit. Residency restrictions apply. Offers cannot be combined. Dealer contribution affects consumer cost.
Save big money on your kitchen project at Menards. We carry everything you need to turn your kitchen dreams into reality. Renovate your space with new cabinets from Cardell. They're ready to install and come in a variety of styles. Visit our kitchen showrooms in-store or go to Menards.com for free design estimates today. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer for all of our hot deals going on now.
Save big money at Menards. You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jung's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell her 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more OSB sheathing. Plus, get an extra 5% off every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's business credit card. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. 5% offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store Lowe's.com/credit for details.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
A perfect afternoon parlay. This is Rothman and Ice.
All right, welcome back. One of the big offseason storylines, of course, Dallas, and they kind of run the deal, their own brand. Jason B. Hirschhorn is with us. Our man, the co-founder of The Leap, the Packers newsletter, award-winning NFL writer, and he's on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fangast hotline. Jason, welcome back.
How's it going, gentlemen?
We're okay. What do you make of the decision by Dallas right now to just kind of be playing a little game of chicken with Dak Prescott? I've gone back and forth on this. I feel like that, yes, he's putting up numbers that make you feel he's worth $50+ million a year. However, these failures in the playoffs, I can understand why Dallas doesn't want to commit long-term and pay him again. Where do you think this is going?
This is bigger than just Dak Prescott. Obviously, he's the headline name here because he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But the team as a whole has really set themselves up for either a lot of expensive extensions next offseason or basically a full restart. So, yeah, Dak Prescott could be staring at a huge extension or new deal with another team next offseason. By the way, CeeDee Lamb, another big name, he is also eligible for an extension and could potentially move, although he's younger, so maybe Dallas will do more to keep him, even if they do move on from Dak Prescott. It's other guys, too. They have really compounded a lot of these salary cap issues by not doing extensions earlier and not doing some of the things that other teams do to better manage the salary cap year to year. So they have put a ton of weight on the 2024 season. By the way, also this applies to Mike McCarthy, the head coach. So, yeah, there's a lot of this that reflects on Dak Prescott, how he's played in the regular season and how that hasn't always translated into the postseason. But this is a whole organizational thing. If the Cowboys do not have a huge season that extends well into the playoffs, I think you're looking at more than just Dak Prescott moving on. I think you're going to see the head coach change. You're going to see other big names in that organization move because it's either put up or shut up time, the way they've constructed things.
But Jason, Dak doesn't play for the money. He told us himself.
No one does. No one plays for the money. No one works for the money. It's just an ancillary benefit that we ignore when it's convenient for narrative purposes.
Yeah. They are starting to earn some of that money, and I see that you're looking at the OTA situation. There's coverage of the Packers getting underway, and you mentioned like Justin Jefferson going on, and it is an interesting time of year for not just Dak, but across the NFL with these guys who are trying to use some leverage or find some leverage as they get ready for these OTAs.
Yeah, and it's especially big for a lot of these quarterbacks. They either entered the league in 2020 or 2021. We've already seen some huge, quarterback news in the contract department this offseason, Kirk Cousins being the first of those, Jared Goff being huge. This all sets up an interesting situation for these big names. Jordan Love, obviously in position to get an extension. That still seems like it's going to happen. It's a matter of what amount. Now, he showed up to OTAs. That seems to be a sign that talks, even if they're not going to lead to a contract tomorrow, that they are progressing in that direction. But all these situations are fluid. Going back really to the combine, a lot of the talk from agents there was, we know the quarterback market is going to go up. It goes up every season. But what happens with Patrick Mahomes when he eventually decides, you know what, I don't think I should make, the fifth or fourth amount of money for a quarterback, actually making the most. I'm the best player. And they tear up that extension and go with something entirely new, which they haven't done since they did the original extension after his first Super Bowl win. When that happens, that is going to reset the quarterback market. And because it's Patrick Mahomes, it's also going to have ancillary effects for the other big markets. If that had happened earlier this offseason, that doesn't just impact all these quarterback talks. It's going to impact Justin Jefferson as well because he wants to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. If everybody is moving up because of Patrick Mahomes, his demands are going to move up as well. So we're at this pivotal moment with a lot of these superstar players and big-time quarterbacks where it's not just going to be, who's going to go up by $1 million per year off the previous deal. We're talking about in one offseason, even if it's not this one, everybody jumping up by $5+ million annually at that top level.
So there's been talk of, and there's arguments for and against an 18-game season and maybe sacrificing a preseason game, which I don't think any fan would have a problem with there. Maybe guys trying to make the team and showcase would certainly have a problem with it. Are you for or against an 18-game season?
So I'm against it in a vacuum. I'm also against the way the NFL describes these things. If you actually go back, even before the 17-game, 18-week season, the NFL has always done this thing where they describe it as a zero-sum game. We have to get rid of these extra preseason games, and so we add a regular season game, as though you can only take out one by adding another. And that's just not true, right? Like, they could just remove some of these preseason games and keep the current amount of games available without extending the season, without putting those players in harm's way more often. But the NFL, of course, doesn't want to do it. And I think it's really a lack of creativity on their part. These things are driven by TV. We see this across the board in sports, happening in college football as well. I'm sure you guys are both aware of this. But if they were to do something where instead of adding a game, they just added a bye week, maybe put one of those bye weeks in front of those Thursday night games that the players hate so much because of the short turnaround, they could extend the inventory without extending the amount of games the players have to play. That would have benefits for TV. That's another week of NFL broadcasts. And it's also good for the players. They don't have to have those short turnarounds as often. It would also help, by the way, with the NFL's plan to expand internationally, right? Like, it's really hard to account for all the logistics when you're going into Europe. Well, when you have the extra bye week, it gives you more flexibility in that regard. But the NFL does not seem interested in doing something like that. They just want to add more games, knowing that if there is a showdown with the NFLPA, that ultimately they're going to win because they have more money and therefore more leverage. I think it's a bad way of doing business. It is something that, has short-term benefits, obviously, like the league will make more money, but you risk not just saturation of the product, but you also risk the health of the players in a more significant way. I just think it's bad.
Jason, I'm sure that these guys have probably asked you stuff post-draft about picks for, I don't know, rookie of the year, offense, defense. But when you have some time to think about what transpired a few weeks ago, who do you think at the top of the draft wound up in the best spot for them to succeed long-term?
Well, to a certain degree, it's the first pick, right? Like, usually that is not the case. Someone like Caleb Williams is almost always going to go to a team that doesn't have a lot around him. The Bears, however, were not the typical team picking number 1 overall. Like, this is not a team that's great, right? Like, there certainly is a roster that has holes on both sides of the ball. But here's a situation with, at least on paper, one of the best sets of pass catchers, not just the wide receivers, by the way, the tight ends as well, and also an improving offensive line that is, it's not great, but it's capable when healthy. That's better than a lot of playoff teams that we've seen the last few years. So he walks a situation where he'll have weapons, where they'll have more protection than your typical number 1 overall pick will. And the defense, while, it wasn't, a world beater last season, it did show massive improvement. You put all those things together, it's like, yeah, this is a player who could put up pretty massive numbers for a rookie in 2024. So I think you have to start there. It's just a weird situation. Again, you usually don't have a team like Chicago picking number 1 overall, and it worked out really well from Caleb Williams in that regard.
Good stuff with our friend Jason B. Hirschhorn. He's the award-winning NFL writer, co-founder of The Leap, the Packers newsletter. Thanks, Jason. We'll ring you back soon.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks. Jason was on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. All right, started the show with a feeling that it could be a fairly big day at Memorial as far as filling out the field, and it's coming fast and furious. We will ring up the tournament director next, Dan Sullivan, find out who the eye emojis are for. Listen next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Question from a listener. Do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. You know what Rich is up to? He's got Memorial Day sales going all month long. Interest rates starting as low as 1.90% on the 2024s. The Civic LX sedan, the Accord LX sedan, and CRV LX two-wheel drives. And he's going to throw you an extra $1,000 for your trade. He wants to give you the best deal in town, and you will not be disappointed. Germain Honda of Dublin is my Honda dealer in Central Ohio, and hopefully yours on Sawmill Parkway just south of 270.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from the other window place.
Wilson, what's with the magic wand?
I'm trying to make our screens do that vanishing thingy yours do.
You mean the disappearing roll screens? Where the screen is there if you want it, or retracts and disappears if you don't?
Yeah, now, is that done with real magic?
No, it's not.
So I should probably take back the wizard's robe.
Yeah, I would. Get the window that Columbus homeowners rate the most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Common Man and T-Bone.
I sit with these idiots for 3 hours a day. I can't say something. How hard could it be to sit down and go, I gave you all your good lines anyway back then.
That's right.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
It was a quiet night in Columbus, maybe a little too quiet. Me, Philip Flapper, plumbing detective. I was finishing up for the night when she walked in. Long hair, 2 legs, a couple of arms, a nose, elbows. Pretty standard equipment for this neighborhood. I looked at her, she looked at me, and then we did that thing where we both spoke at the same time. What can I do for you? I'm sorry, that was awkward. We went on to talk about clogs, funny odors, water going down the drain too slow. This is above my pay grade, I told her, and gave her this website, apexpros.com. They're the pros who knows, the kinds of plumbers who don't mind getting their hands dirty. And believe me, what's down those pipes is dirty. Ugh. Call the pros, Apex Pros. And that was it. She walked out of my life, using those legs I told you about earlier.
Hi, it's Alex, the friendly Apex Bear from Apex Pros. Apex plumbers are the pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Accurate Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Their live golf team name is Ice Dogs. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
All right, a lot of hype coming off the PGA Championship as the world of golf will descend upon Muirfield Village June 3rd through the 9th. For the signature workday event, the Memorial Tournament. The man that will run the show again is the one and only Dan Sullivan. And looky here, we ask and he responds. Dan, good to have you.
Anthony, how you doing?
Outstanding.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, this is, your social media department is doing a hell of a job because that's what sparked me to want to text you and ring out to you guys with the eye emojis. And so I was doing my own little math equation here. And I see you have Rory, you have Victor defending, you have Cantlay, you have Morikawa, you have Thigala, you have Ricky. The guys that I didn't see were the obvious, right? I mean, Max Homa in the top 10. I didn't see Wyndham Clark. And, of course, the number one player in the world, the most dominating golfer out there, I had to remind myself was not yet committed. So now, live on the air, Dan Sullivan, can you reveal who are the eye emojis for?
The headliner. We're number one, Scottie Scheffler.
You got him. Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as you guys know, it's a process as players, when players commit or not commit. And they go off their own timeline. And Scottie's had a lot going on, number one, as we all know. And he's been on an incredible roll. And we're happy and pleased that he took the time to commit. We're able to communicate it out there and make sure that everyone knows that we look forward to having him the week of the 3rd and not to be overshadowed, but also Wyndham Clark, Max Homa, Ricky Fowler, and Will Zalatoris. And so it's a testament to the Memorial's attraction as a world-class event and a testament to the signature series concept of all the eligible top players coming together to play.
Dan, when you're a couple weeks out and you're getting to make some of these really exciting announcements for the folks that are coming to Columbus and to the Village, is that the number one thing that's still on your to-do list, or what else is on your plate as you get into the final home stretch here?
Oh, honestly, it's everything. We're still selling, we're still organizing, we're still operating, and making sure that we get it right. I always say we have 7 days to get it right, and it takes a lot to get there. But players are critical to this, as we know, and the Memorial standard over the last 48 years has been to attract the most prominent players in the game. And as the PGA Tour changes and is evolving right now, we feel really strong that the guys who are eligible, the ones that are a part of the PGA Tour, are all going to be here supporting their tour and supporting one of the more prominent events in the game in the Memorial.
All right, so big announcement obviously today with Scottie, but I did not hear Xander in your little paragraph there. Are you still? I mean, listen, he had obviously a huge week. He finally cashes in, gets the major, all the pressure, comes out with a 62, and then goes wire to wire, which probably the 62, a lot of people are saying, oh, that's the kiss of death. He's not going to win it. And then he does it. He gets those two amazing pressure-filled up and downs at 17 and 18 to win the tournament. Are you in contact with Xander at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we have time because it's Thursday and we got a week left. And again, each one of these players commit on their own timeline. And so there are a few players still left out that have not officially committed. Ludwig's one of them, Jordan Spieth, Xander, Tony Finau, Tom Kim. And Brian Harmon, we continually have conversations with them. And we expect to have, honestly, we expect to have everyone. I hope to have everyone here. And we'll be excited when they all officially commit.
Dan, you referenced what Scottie went through last Friday. And you guys, as you prepare to put on an event up there in Dublin, did that just mean like, oh, we have to go through this process again? Let's make sure that all of our security knows the protocol. I mean, maybe it doesn't make any difference because the Memorial has this every single year. I don't know, but it does. Does it come up in conversation that we're planning? Hey, we got to make sure that this cannot happen in the greater Columbus area at what happened in Louisville.
Yeah, it's such a horrible thing that happened, number one, that didn't include Scottie. A man died, and it was a horrible accident in the morning where there was bad weather and probably poor lighting, and it was horrendous. And then Valhalla, the way it's set up, you only have one way in. And that compounded the issue. And frankly, what I understand is that there were assigned uniformed police, and then there were more assigned uniformed police because of the fatality. And all of a sudden, things got confused. And they're going to work that process out with Scottie, and hopefully everything's going to fall in order. And then, we've been asked the question a couple of times. We feel confident in every aspect of this tournament and everyone who's assigned. We have so many different organizations involved from a security standpoint. We literally have everyone in Columbus assigned to a certain aspect of the security and the traffic and parking related to this tournament. And you hope that if something never happens. We think we know we have a right structure in place for communication if something does happen, and we rely on that structure to be effective in time of need. And you get tested, and unfortunately they were tested, and you saw the pictures of players walking in from, I don't know how far away they walked in, but they walked in for a while. The walking in wouldn't happen here because we have a number of points of entry. As opposed to what Valhalla has. But the communication, the standard set up front, never question what the PGA Championship or PGA America had in place. All I know is that we feel confident in what we've created over the 49 years we've had this tournament here. This will be the 49th, and feel that everything's in place to make sure that we're effective in what we do.
The tournament director of the Memorial, Dan Sullivan, with us here on Rothman and Ice. I'll ask you this. In your history running the tournament, and I know you have obviously all the courtesy cars and all that, are most of these pros driving in themselves? I mean, is that the almost 90% or more than that? Maybe they're caddy drives or what have you, but most of them aren't shuttled in correctly. They're driving themselves to the tournament every day?
They're all driving. Oh. And it's depending on depending on the day, depending on their own circumstance. They're either driving themselves, they're either driving with a spouse, or significant other, driving with a family member, driving with their caddy or with their agent. They come in all different ways. They all are provided a vehicle, which they utilize throughout the week, and that provides them access into the space. And again, depending on the timing, circumstances, they're either accompanied or not.
So you said you're still finalizing here in the home stretch, Dan. Are there many badges left for the week? What's the expected crowd situation for the signature event now?
Yeah, I mean, we expect great crowds, as we always have. I'm really excited about how the weather is coming together here. And number one, it's just warming up and everyone's getting outside. We will be on sale through the end of next week at the very least. And my expectation is that we'll be in a great position to call it a sellout at the end of next week. And, you know, the anticipation is that we're going to have an incredible field that we've talked about is going to be different. We'll have 72 to 74 players. Everyone teeing off the first tee starting on Thursday morning in twos. It'll have a different feel to it, but I think it'll be really unique and fun for people to have traditional golf off the first tee starting on Thursday and working all the way into Sunday. And I know that crowds will build into the backside of the golf course every single day, which frankly we haven't had on Thursday and Friday in a number of years. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to people being able to follow Rory or Scottie or Max or whomever they really enjoy watching and get them through first through 18 and then kind of culminating on the backside each day.
I don't know if I've asked you this. How do they, I mean, the tour decides how they want to pair these guys up?
They do. Yeah, so they go through a process. There will be featured pairings for each day. And featured pairings are not only for the patrons who are here on property, but also for television. So we'll have a featured pairing window for Thursday, and those guys are on Thursday window. In television will be early on Friday, and the guys early Thursday will be prime time on Friday. And then once the cut is made, with 50 in ties and 10 within the lead, then obviously you go off of from last to first, starting on Saturday morning.
Yeah. Hey, man, thanks for breaking the big news on the show. Appreciate you, Danny. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me, guys. Talk to you soon.
Dan Sullivan, tournament director of the Memorial, breaking the news today that he has landed the world #1 and reigning Masters champ, committing to Memorial. Now you ask, has he played her before? He has. This will be his fourth. I think he's gone third, maybe somewhere in the top 25. So he's never finished outside the top 25, but he doesn't have that handshake yet from Jack.
That's right. And everybody wants that. They don't just, that's not lip service. There's a nice check that comes with it too, but they want to shake Jack's hand coming off of 18 there.
Hey, I want the check that guy got. Give me the big one, Happy Gilmore. All right, we come back after a SportsCenter update, and we'll reconnect in the second hour with you. Tee Higgins, tag you're it. It feels a little permanent. You'll hear the analysis next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Ah, the sweet sounds of spring. The crack of a bat, chorus of birds, and the glorious hum of a freshly tuned AC system. Don't sweat it. Let the Waterworks Heating and Cooling team keep you in tune with a spring AC checkup.
You're all set.
Schedule a visit today and stay cool all summer long. Call the Waterworks Heating and Cooling team, 614-333-9720, or schedule service on our website. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better AC.
Billiards Plus has everything for the master griller in your house. Come to their showroom, open the lid, and feel the difference in their grills. Professional, top-quality equipment at great prices with a huge selection ready to go home with you. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
My guys at Germain Lexus are getting ready for the Memorial. What they do every single year is let the golfers drive around in beautiful Lexuses for the week. Then they take those cars and sell them to you. You could be driving Rory's car. The Germain all-month-long celebration's going on right now. You can get great deals like this one. 2024 RX 350, 36-month lease, 10,000 miles per year, $49.99 down, $519 a month. I just picked up my brand new RX 350 a few weeks ago. It is plush. Germain Lexus of Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Ohio Mulch, Landscape Supply.
Hi, this is Ron Frost with Ohio Mulch, and here's to Ohio Mulch celebrating 40 years of making the community a greener and more beautiful place, one garden at a time. Don't miss out on the opportunities to elevate your outdoor space and to be part of a journey towards the next 40 successful years. Check out our promotions online at OhioMulch.com.
Ohio Mulch, Landscape Supply. Greener, greener, better.
Open your door to a gorgeous Nature Stone garage floor. This is Paul Keels for Nature Stone. This month only, save up to 50% during their May is for Moms sales event. Schedule your free cost estimate today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
So you're in the middle of a kitchen update, and you can't tell if that's a faucet stem or a flange. With the Home Depot app, doing doesn't miss a beat. It'll find what you need in a snap, and it'll show you how to find it in store with a tap. Or get it delivered free. For doing that doesn't stop, download the Home Depot app. It's made for doing.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Buddy Wells. Starting with the NBA, after 4 seasons at the helm, the Cavaliers have fired head coach J.B. Bickerstaff. In those 4 seasons, Cleveland went 165 and 153, and they made the playoffs in each of the past 2 years, losing in the first and second round. Tonight, it's Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Celtics and Pacers in Boston. Tip-off is at 8. The Celtics lead the series 1-0. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, we have Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals tonight between the Oilers and Stars in Dallas. Face-off is at 8:30. And in baseball, the Reds and Padres are just about to get underway at Great American Ballpark. First pitch is at 1:10. Frankie Montas gets the start. The Redlegs are looking to take the series with a win in that game. Meanwhile, the Guardians are off today. They'll play the first of 3 in L.A. tomorrow night against the Angels. This update is sponsored by Nature Stone. Schedule your free cost estimate today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor wow, it's Nature Stone. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The best bet on the radio. This is Rothman and Ice.
All right, so there you go. Memorial coming large with Scottie Scheffler and more. So he commits the U.S. Open champ, Wyndham Clark, a guy that's won a half a dozen times on tour, Max Homa. You know Ricky's a fan favorite. And Will Zalatoris, who's already had, back issues, certainly he's got star written all over him, is strengthening this world-class field for the 49th edition hosted by the legendary Jack Nicklaus. Now, I did see Austin, as Austin Ward is in with me today, that it feels like, or it sounds like now, that the cop went over-aggressive with policing this area, and that Louisville police have revealed some results of their preliminary investigation. It looks like it makes Scottie Scheffler look very innocent, and the misunderstanding which he stated. And the other part of it is that the arresting officer, this detective, did not activate his body cam. Now, I assume he was in full uniform, because as a detective, I don't think he'd be wearing a body cam. He'd have to be in full LMPD uniform, and I feel that he was maybe for that duty, but he did not turn it on. And then there was no footage of the initial incident that took place outside Valhalla. And now there is. It's not from the body cam. Okay. But there is video released by the Louisville Metro Police Department. I'm watching it right now. This was from a reporter down there in Louisville. It shows Scottie Scheffler turning into the lot, and this police officer chases after the car and bangs on the window. And again, I'm not a legal expert, but for this to be a felony charge on Scottie Scheffler, I have to imagine it's going bye-bye real soon. I don't know what else he's supposed to do in this situation. Well, the only part about it's, I guess, still in question is if he told him not to go and he went, and then he was chasing after him, and then when he was trying to get him to stop, he didn't stop, and that's why the police officer fell, then certainly emotions were high in that moment. I've watched enough of these to know there are so many reasons why people don't comply, and they should. And many of them are bad. Many of them are, they know they have a warrant, they have a suspended license, they have drugs or weapons in the car, they're impaired, they're under the influence. Like, there are so many reasons why, as I just listed, why people decide I'm not complying. When a police officer gives you a lawful command to step out of the vehicle, all right? So you either do it or you don't. And if you don't, they'll pull you out. And they have every right to do it. And then on the other side, there are some where you're just where you're going through an area that you're confused, or there's construction, or you violated a little bit of a traffic situation because you had to go around something you weren't supposed to. And they give you the no, don't do it.
Right.
In this instance, it does feel like that the circumstances of raining, dark, not a specific guy that was there just for traffic duty to run that spot, to know that these people are credentialed, they can go through, these people can't. You have to be an official vehicle. You have to show credentials. They're allowed to go up the club way or whatever in Valhalla. And so it sounds like it was a no, you'll go when I tell you you can go, or he never said anything, or he gave him some command that Scottie didn't see or felt that was for somebody else, or he drove around a bus and came out of nowhere and the cop was surprised. There's a lot to this, and it's kind of a feel like Scheffler, who called it a big misunderstanding, feels like he is going to be in the right.
I think he's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, based on this, again, so I am not a cop and I'm not a lawyer or a judge. I'm not any of those things. But I've driven a car a lot, and as you know, you and I have both, we go to the Horseshoe early mornings every Saturday, every home game. I'm on the road covering all the Ohio State games. Like, I'm in these sorts of situations a lot. So I've seen them play out. If there's a situation where you don't understand, you're not complying for whatever reason, you're trying to get to a parking garage, there are hundreds of cops down there. I've never seen one chase after a car and then try and bang on the window because there's nowhere for you to go. That's the part that's weird to me. Why this particular officer, again, I'm not in his shoes. I don't know what he was said, what he was thinking, but Scottie Scheffler was turning into the lot at Valhalla. There's one way in and there's one way out, and there's hundreds of other officers. They know what the vehicle looks like. They know what the license plate's going to say. Like, where's he going to go?
So you brought up something that's important there. Did the police officer know that this was a credentialed player that was driving that vehicle, or did he think it was just another vehicle?
Yeah.
And if it was another vehicle that went up that road, which would be crazy violation of getting through there if you didn't have credentials, and that's why he was potentially chasing after him, and then pulled him out of the vehicle because he didn't know this was a golfer. He thought it was a regular citizen driving in. Then I guess he could tell that story. If the car had markings on it at PGA, certainly that would throw it off. But if it was dark and rainy, he didn't notice that, maybe. So it could be misunderstanding on both sides here. But yes, he was clearly, from the video, chasing after a car that he felt was going into the club that was a violation. So I don't know. That's all I can tell you. Unless it was just that he was having a horrendous day and he told him not to go yet and he went anyway.
Right.
And he's like, no, I'm the cop. You're the citizen. You're not going to do that. And so that is clearly, but if he's already been somewhat reprimanded now by the Louisville Police Department, this is over.
Yeah,
it's going to be kicked, and either, I mean, could he have a citation of some sort or go on some sort of probation? Maybe, but
not a felony.
Not a felony.
And not something that keeps the world number one from coming to Muirfield Village in 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, and that's, you kind of, I didn't want to put Dan in a tough spot to have to comment on something like that because he wasn't there. But the next logical question to Dan Sullivan would be, without knowing the information we just told you, was, are you worried that something could happen over the next 3 weeks that has him saying, I can't play?
Right.
Right. But anyway, he's in, and now it looks like he will stay in.
What a newsy 45 minutes in Scottie Scheffler's world. He's still trying to play golf this weekend, by the way. That's why I was so amazed, Anthony. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Like last Friday, what he did after being in that jail cell. I understand, like, the adrenaline probably wore off on Saturday. I'd never seen anything like that.
So there's a couple schools of thoughts on that, right? One is that everyone thought he would, in his pants because his mind wasn't on it. and the focus that it would take to play at that level in a major, he just wasn't there, right? The other part would be that now the pressure is completely off, and that no one in their right mind would think I could go out and shoot that today. I'm still great, and I might be the best in the game right now, and I am the best in the game, so let's just go play golf, and with no pressure. I agree. He seemed like he hit the wall a little bit on Saturday, but he is human. He's allowed to play somewhat poorly for himself, so it was hard to know. I had buddies of mine saying, he's done. And I'm like, or he could go out and shoot 500. Like, right? It was either 5 over or 5 under. There wasn't a lot of middle ground to what people were saying was going to happen on that day.
Yeah, I can imagine that your golf group chats were just like mine. It's 7:30 in the morning on Friday, and they were going wild. And I'm like, what would you do? Guys, like, I know you. We can rattle you by having you take one shot of Fireball. You got arrested, and then you have to play. Like, me, there's no chance. I'd have withdrawn immediately. I'm done. My mind is gone. So I think that's what ramps it up for me. Like, I understand what happened on Saturday. He probably, because then he's got to sleep on it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm facing a felony charge. Like, how can I be charged with a felony for what he thought happened? And then you probably don't sleep. And then some of that stuff that he's going through on Friday morning, like, I can get through this. That wears off. Then on what did he do on Sunday? Just went back to being world number one.
Yeah, he is one of those guys, and you and I were talking about off the air about it, that if this does turn out well for him, which it sounds like it will, it'll help him. It'll help his whole persona, and because now people that either didn't know who he was or didn't care who he was may have now said, okay, I care a little bit. Yeah. I feel like there's a connection there. There's a human level now. This guy got arrested. Not that I've ever been arrested. He's a real one. I'm assuming you haven't. Now, CB, I don't know, but there could be some question there. But
I've heard he's evil.
Yes, I would say that there's a chance with him, but I'm going to go on the assumption that his record is still clean. That now this guy has had something happen to him that I haven't, you haven't, and he hasn't. And so maybe we can connect on him and have a little bit of there's a sympathy vote for him now, even though he needs no sympathy with his golf game. So, yeah, I mean, it may have brought him out a little bit, but his personality is so straight line that maybe he's the only guy that could handle this. I mean, most of these golfers have to keep their emotions in check fairly well. Mm-hmm. I mean, if this happens to John Rahm, who knows what happens, right?
That'd be explosive. Right. I think the profanity would have been flying. You can tell the way the guys handle adverse situations on the course. And like John Rahm is more vocal about it, and he's able to generally respond and bounce back. But like Scottie Scheffler's response to the arrest was about what you've seen him handle if he hits a bad drive. Like, we know what that looks like for John Rahm, and maybe those charges would have been validated. Who knows?
He did the most amazing thing, which is he didn't resist, and he didn't technically try to talk his way out of it, because once he was in the cuffs, that wasn't happening. And he looked to Jeff Darlington, was it?
Yes. Yep.
Jeff Darlington.
Help me.
And said, can you help me? Kind of deal. Like, basically what he's saying is, can you tell them who I am?
I don't want to do it. Will you do this for me?
Well, at that point, they kind of had to know if they're ripping him out of a PGA car, and he'd have some sort of credential to show them. And by the way, when this first happened, I was very middle of the road because I didn't know what happened, and it was hard to be able to comment on it. And the one thing I kept coming back to was, well, couldn't he have just rolled down his window and said, I'm a player, can I go? This is where so what happens is you wonder, was the police officer even willing to listen? Or was it just hand out, you're not going anywhere, I don't want to hear from you, you'll go when I tell you can go, or you're not going there.
Yeah.
And then Scottie saw an opening and went, and that's when the guy chased him. So now it's more of a, you're digging in on both sides, right? He can't, I'm going, I'm a player. So we thought it may have been a little case of that, but now it turns out that Scottie is going to probably look very good in this, that Louisville is trying to save face, the police department, and that their guy was overly aggressive in his approach to this, even though on his side, it might have been, I didn't know who he was. It was raining and dark. They're not allowed to just drive up there, especially coming around a bus. So when I told him don't go and he went, that was violating the command I gave him, and now he's in trouble. Like, could have been that as simple as that.
Yeah, I think they're both going to feel like that they did the right thing based on their training or their experience. But clearly, you have the mayor of Louisville, you have the police department coming out and talking about this already. they're saying one person was more right than the other.
Listen, when my friend Jensen Lewis tried to get into the stadium in Cleveland and he violated the commands, at that point, maybe he'll have something to say about it. The fact that everyone appears
he had to do it every day.
Appears to want to get on this show, like Dan Sullivan, like, can I call him? Like, I got Jensen back there now waving, like he's in the bullpen. Am I coming in yet?
He's
sure. Why
look at
not?
him shaking his arm there behind the glass. He's call me in right now.
All right, J-Lou's in the building. Why, I have no idea, but we'll bring him in to talk about if the Guardians have staying power and why the Reds are garbage right now. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
The Fan is live and local with Morning Juice, Caffeinate, and Dominate.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
It was a quiet night in Columbus, maybe a little too quiet. Me, Philip Flapper, plumbing detective. I was finishing up for the night when she walked in. Long hair, 2 legs, a couple of arms, a nose, elbows. Pretty standard equipment for this neighborhood. I looked at her, she looked at me, and then we did that thing where we both spoke at the same time. What can I do for you? I'm sorry, that was awkward. We went on to talk about clogs, funny odors, water going down the drain too slow. This is above my pay grade, I told her, and gave her this website, apexpros.com. They're the pros who knows, the kinds of plumbers who don't mind getting their hands dirty. And believe me, what's down those pipes is dirty. Ugh. Call the pros, Apex Pros. And that was it. She walked out of my life, using those legs I told you about earlier.
Hi, it's Alex, the friendly Apex Bear from Apex Pros. Apex plumbers are the pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
My guys at Jermaine Lexus are getting ready for the Memorial. What they do every single year is let the golfers drive around in beautiful Lexuses for the week. Then they take those cars and sell them to you. You could be driving Rory's car. The Jermaine all-month-long celebration's going on right now. You can get great deals like this one. 2024 RX 350, 36-month lease, 10,000 miles per year, $49.99 down, $519 a month. I just picked up my brand new RX 350 a few weeks ago. It is plush. Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
Bishop and Friends.
It is a big deal that you have a home and away with 3 Big Ten teams, and 2 of the 3 are Maryland and Nebraska. Who is protecting Ohio State's house?
Bishop and Friends.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. I need you to listen up real quick. One of the largest manufacturers in the United States for CPAP machines recently announced they're suspending sales of all their breathing machines over problems with the devices. Millions of Philips Respironic ventilators and CPAP machines are being recalled now that they've reached a plea agreement with the FDA. That all doesn't sound good. And maybe you're thinking, yeah, that's why I'm not going to deal with my sleep apnea, because I don't want to have a bulky CPAP. Well, this is where you need to call my guy, Dr. Mark Levy. Dr. Mark Levy has dedicated his practice to helping people who suffer from sleep apnea, and he can create a custom mouthpiece for you that stops your snoring and effectively treats your sleep apnea with no CPAP machine. Yeah, he's in network with most major medical insurers and is a Medicare provider too. This is Dr. Mark Levy's passion. He's been doing this a long time. He wants to help you with your sleep apnea and also make it so your partner doesn't want to murder you dead because you snore so much. So do what I did. Call Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or book an appointment online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Proper tree care is an investment that can lead to substantial returns and increased personal enjoyment. Hiring a certified arborist can help care for your trees and add considerable value to your property. Inspections by Ohio ISA certified arborists can often find and mitigate tree defects before they fail. Only professionals with specialized knowledge and training are properly equipped to provide appropriate care. To find an arborist, visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
This is the sound of a popular American motorcycle. It's the sound of freedom, the open road, really good times. And this is what it sounds like with a drunk guy in it. How do you like the sound of that? Cops are cracking down on drunk motorcycle riders. If you ride drunk, you will get caught and you will get arrested. Drunk riding. Over the limit, under arrest. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Looks like we'll have a few more storms today, but these will be non-severe. The timing would be between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. Overnight tonight, though, we drop down to the 60s. You'll see that full flower moon tonight. And then as we go towards tomorrow, we're looking at a pretty nice day overall. Should be dry with highs around 82. I'm Doppler 10 meteorologist Dylan Robichaud on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365 is the exclusive online sportsbook of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Crowd the plate at your own risk. It's time for some chin music with former big leaguer and president of the Bald is Beautiful fan club, Jensen Lewis.
Double chin music. Wow. So he came in high and tight today. What's he going to throw tomorrow? J. Lou in the house today, so he slithers in.
This is a huge day for me, Anthony, because I've never done a show with you.
Right.
And Jensen has only ever sometimes called me on the morning juice when he's filling in. It's 7:30 in the morning. So no in the studio with you and no face-to-face with Jensen until now. So it's like a magical Thursday for me.
Day of days. Well, you made a wish and it came true, and here we are. Let me ask you this.
I wasted it.
Yes. J. Lou, ever have any trouble getting into the players' lot of any stadium? Did you ever have to flash credentials and say, I'm not the roto-rooter man. I'm actually a guy that's pitching?
I don't think so. I'm trying to remember kind of more a detour of your question on what was the most attractive. And by that, I mean, so the way ours at Progressive Field, then Jacobs Field was set up is, you had the iron gates. People could stand there, though, and they would wait for us to come out and, hand stuff through, and we'd sign autographs and stuff. Comerica Park, you had to walk across the street, so you could, get intercepted, if you will, at some juncture there. But, yeah, I don't think there was one where ever had an issue. Okay. Again, on the road, you're coming in with the bus anyway, so, but, yeah.
Home, I was thinking that maybe.
Home, they now put up a tarp, but they did that during the pandemic for obvious reasons. Yeah. So that it's kind of changed a little bit now. But yeah, that was fun to see how many people would we have people now that just pull up like tailgate chairs and we'll sit outside and wait for the players to come in.
And you blow them off.
I don't park there anymore. No.
He's in the media lot.
Yeah, I got to go around. I got to go the long way now.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. Just driving to work, if I'm going to cover a game at the Horseshoe or you are going to pitch, sometimes dealing with those different traffic patterns had to get old. I don't know if that is the way it is for Major League players showing up to home games. How many times you've seen it with cops trying to point this way or that way and have disruptions, because it feels incredibly rare what happened with Scottie. We've talked about that so much.
Right.
And I don't see it a lot, even though I'm doing that every Saturday, and you had to do that 81 times a year.
Yeah, and I think it's the timing, too, for obviously when the players are coming in hours earlier than would fans or people working the game. We're lucky there at Progressive because you come right off the highway there on 90, and you literally just have one light to go through. And you coming out of the ballpark, and when guys are ready to leave, we'll have a couple of officers there that will stop traffic and you get out. So we're lucky to have a very easy and feasible situation there. But I can remember, you bring up Scottie, and I think I was doing radio that morning. I'm like, this is a parody. And you're checking now to make sure, is it a blue check mark? Even then, people have paid for it. I'm like, okay, now this is getting reported by people that are reputable. And it was just wild. It was wild to follow the whole day.
Well, Darlington had the video because he just happened to be walking at the time. So that was the key to it. You're right, that the world number one just got arrested going into the major. But yeah, and the other thing, and I'm glad Austin brought it up, because I remember interviewing Damon Severson of the Jackets when he came to Columbus and thinking, here he's in New Jersey. And what time, you're in a big market. Yeah. So you're in Chicago, L.A., New York, whatever, even some other ones, Atlanta, Dallas. You feel like what time you'd have to leave your home to go to a game where if you played for the Blue Jackets, as opposed to living in New York,
Kobe,
or Chicago,
Kobe
or
taking a helicopter in L.A. Yep.
Yeah, you feel like I mean, even if you live in New Albany, you're 25 minutes.
So this in Chicago because most of us stay, down in the Miracle Mile. we would have a bus maybe a half an hour earlier than usual, specifically on weekday games, because you're trying to avoid the traffic and the route to go to the south side AR. It can get a little dicey depending on when you leave. The other one is Seattle. Seattle's traffic is ridiculous. They'll even have on the whiteboard, let us know if you need an Uber or something, because they've got to call it to time it because of how long it takes to get through the traffic pattern to get down there to T-Mobile Park. Now,
then suck to have to get to a game that early if you are a player. And I know get paid a lot of money to do it, but yeah, that's the hidden gem to the middle small market.
Exactly.
Is live where you want, go to the game at a normal time, and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
outside
suck
of
it, Artemi Panarin.
Exactly. Join New York. Yeah. Bob got the best of him last night.
Sure did. How about him?
How real are the Guardians? I've asked you this question before, and the reason I ask is because we always equate success to pitching, and the hitting can kind of come and go. Now, you need that because they weren't good last year, and now all of a sudden they're leading the AL in runs per game out of, through, 50 games?
Right.
And so, but the rotation... So how is the lasting power there for this 33-17 team?
Yeah, you and I talked a little bit about the litmus test with Quan on the IL now, and would that be a disruption? You were ahead of the game. I think it was last week when you said, hey, how about Tyler Freeman? And you look like a genius, and I think it was the right play because it's a guy that has now figured out what his role is. He's not trying to do too much, which I think is hard to do for a young player. As far as the rotation goes, I think the starts by Bybee and McKenzie more so against the Twins. He had to battle a little bit with command, giving up the 3 homers against the Mets. But Bybee a big step forward, too, and kind of the major league moment when, Voter goes out there and channels in a Roger Dorn, get this blanking guy out. But I was just having a conversation driving down here today. This is the first time the Guardians may be in the market for actual starting pitching at the deadline, because the depth is nearly tapped, at least of the healthy guys right now. And if you guys know as well as I do, you look at the potential opponents in a division series, in an LCS, you're thinking Yankees, you're thinking Orioles, Astros, who knows, maybe it's the Mariners' year in the West. You need swing and miss. You need guys that can get length or can have that opportunity to go 5, maybe 100 pitches and still rack you up 7 or 8 strikeouts. If you don't get strikeout capability in the postseason, it's not going to matter. Someone's going to beat you with the long ball. The only difference this year with this Guardians team, they're hitting the homer. They're hitting the homer. Yeah. That's the big difference.
It does help. What do you think, Jensen? What do you make of the Reds? Like, I know you're maybe primarily focused about what's going on in Cleveland, but like on the other end of the state, it's like April's like, oh, optimism. There's something fun going on. And then May is like a complete faceplant debacle.
Yeah.
Which one of those is more real?
Well, early on, and I had told Matty and AR that they were my biggest feast or famine team. This was either going to be a rocket ship or the bottom was going to fall out. The injury to Matt McClain, I could not have quantified being as crippling, I think. And without his presence up there, he and TJ Friedel, because of the dynamic that they had last year, it allowed you to put Ellie De La Cruz at 3 or 4. Spencer Steer was awesome last year. The injury to Christian Encarnacion Strand has been big. You bring in Candelario, and he's been good, but you're asking guys to step in that we had no clue about last year, where this offense, not that they're a well-oiled machine, but damn, were they fun to watch. And they could overcome some of the injury issues they had to deal with in the rotation. Now, we're still early enough, and they're in the right division where if they get hot like they did last year, you can run someone down. For me, I feel like if McClain gets back somewhere in July, you now have that mini trade within the season where you're getting a guy coming back every single day that is such a difference maker, not just for lineup construction, but for morale in your clubhouse continuity. That is, I think, a huge boost. We'll learn a lot about this club in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I don't want to blame it completely on injuries. It's real. There's something there.
Yep.
But you can't be in the bottom third in the league in hitting and on base and slugging.
Yeah.
The guys that are in the lineup, start doing something.
Yep.
All right, we'll talk again tomorrow. Good to see you in person.
You got it. You bet, boys.
It's Jensen Lewis with us, tossing a little early chin music. All right, everyone wants to get into the restaurant, and I guess we have a table next for Justin Zwick. Yes, the former Buckeye quarterback. How does he see this battle playing out? You'll find out next, Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Big things are happening on the east side.
We're ready to deal. Come negotiate during May's Dealin' Days at Lindsay Honda. Lower payments, better financing, more value for any trade. Shop lindsayhonda.com and see new Hondas with thousands in savings, plus many other deals. We'll work hard to get you a payment you can afford. Now, during May Dealin' Days at Lindsay Honda.
Honda makes the cars, Lindsay makes the difference. See lindsayhonda.com for program details.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
There's a little slice of heaven in a country road's escape. Pure perfection in the form of uncrowded nature. Over 1.5 million acres of parks and public lands. From mountain biking to stargazing. Churning white water to quiet trout streams far off the grid. Almost heaven is down to earth in West Virginia. Plan your getaway now at wvtourism.com.
Hollywood Lights. Set sail with excitement at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Saturday, May 25th, you could be the lucky winner of a 7-day, all-expenses-paid Caribbean cruise for two. Not a sailor? No problem. Opt for $15,000 in cold hard cash instead. Play your favorite slots and table games throughout May to earn entries. More details at HollywoodColumbus.com. Remember, your adventure awaits at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Tee to Green with Skip Mosick.
Saturday, Beamer's in for me. He'll chat with PGA professional Ryan Cole from Columbus Country Club and update you on this week's Colonial.
Tee to Green with Skip Mosick, presented by X-Golf. Saturday mornings at 9 on The Fan.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a Care Plan. See, with a Care Plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the Care Plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just a slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Something amazing is happening here. AI is increasing workloads on CPUs and GPUs. But this company's laptops are more than keeping pace. That's because CDW worked with them to future-proof their laptop fleet by configuring them with devices enabled with AMD Ryzen AI. Improve performance and free up resources with AMD Ryzen and CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com/AMD client.
Hey, are you having a hard time dealing with high-interest credit card debt? It's normal, and a SoFi personal loan could help you save thousands by consolidating your DEBT to one low fixed monthly payment. You could get $5,000 to $100,000 as soon as the same day you sign, with no fees required. It only takes 60 seconds to view your rate, and it won't affect your credit score. View your rate at SoFi.com/paid-off. Loans originated by SoFi Bank N.A. Member FDIC. Terms and conditions at SoFi.com/paid-off. NMLS 696891.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Their cholesterol numbers put all other Fan hosts to shame. You were listening to Rothman and Ice.
All right, efforting Justin Zwick. We'll see if Jay-Z is ready to rock here in a few minutes. If not, we'll float him. You do know that Bengals wide receiver Tee Higgins... Oh, did you get him? All right, so he's calling in now. All right, so we'll tap dance for a moment. That gives me
I'm
actually...
not a great tap dancer.
No, it actually gives me a second to tell you about my friends at the Bath Authority. So the Bath Authority, a lot of places out there that'll recustomize your bathroom and do everything you want. The Bath Authority is the place to do it because you've been thinking about doing it and you want to transform yours, and they'll replace everything you want. And the cool part about it is you're going to be a part of the process. So if you want to replace that old outdated shower, you want to pick out that incredible walk-in tub, they have every unit that can be custom built by you. So the premium accents, the accessories that you want, they can install it in as little as 1 day by a certified factory technician. And right now, the Bath Authority will give you $1,500 off a new shower or bath. They'll also let you have 36 months of interest-free financing. So it's got it all. TheBathAuthority.com is the place to go online. A better bath awaits you. And so does Justin Zwick on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Been a long time. It's great to have the former Buckeye with us, the Ohio boy that went to the Buckeyes and now doing a lot of media. Jay-Z, good to have you back, man. How you feeling?
Hey, I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't think I've ever asked you this, and I asked Austin this, and I don't think he knew the answer either. So you come out of Orville, and you win a state championship, I think your freshman year. And then after your sophomore year, you go to Massillon. And I know you played everything, and you were a varsity athlete, you lettered and everything. What was the motivation to leave Orville and go to Massillon?
Well, back in those times, Orville, we were Division 4 actually my freshman year when we won the championship, and then we moved up to Division 3 my sophomore year and went to the state semifinals. And it was just kind of like in my head, I thought I was pretty good. I had a couple decent seasons with Orville, and we had a couple great teams, and I just at that point in time thought I might have a chance to play in college and get a scholarship because that was always my goal. And it was like, hey, if we're going to really do this and you think you are good enough, let's go try this at the highest level in the high school field. And, that's Division I. And that area in Northeast Ohio where I grew up, it was basically Massillon and McKinley were the two big schools that everybody kind of followed and everybody knew about, the Division I schools. And, McKinley had just won, a couple championships in that time frame with Mike Doss and those guys. So it was like, I just wanted to test myself. And, playing at Massillon for the state championship, I got a feel for that stadium, Paul Brown Stadium there, and I just remember thinking, man, that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to go play there, and I think it'd be pretty cool to play your home games there. And it really just worked out. With open enrollment back in those days, I was 27 minutes from the house in Orville to the high school front door, and that's what I did for a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, listen, having a 400-yard passing game for them is pretty. And you probably wanted you probably didn't want to leapfrog Bobby Knight as the most famous person from Orville, so you did a nice thing.
Exactly. Between Smuckers and Bobby Knight, I don't want to have anybody get knocked out of those top two spots.
All right, so Jay-Z, fast forward just a couple years, and now look at what Ohio State's got at quarterback. I know you and I were there for the Student Appreciation Day scrimmage. You've had a chance to see, Devin Brown in game opportunities. Been watching Will Howard in practice. I know that there was a little bit of surprise that, at least nationally, that all 5 Ohio State quarterbacks stuck around through the spring transfer portal window. How would you want to manage all 5 of these guys heading into training camp in August?
Man, I imagine it's somewhat of a nightmare, for Ryan to figure that out because, every quarterback wants as many reps as they can get, and they want to be with the best offensive line. They want to be with the best receivers, all that good stuff. I think they're going to have to break it down to who they think. And, everybody kind of knows this. I think it's between Will and Devin, as the starter goes. I know Lincoln is there. I don't think he has any thoughts of, him pushing those 2 guys for that job. So I think you start there with those 2. One of those guys is probably going to be our starter. Let's get them the most reps with, the ones and however they break it up during camp. I know last year they kind of went 2 fields at times just to get more people on the field. So they have experience with it, and they know what worked last year and what didn't work. So I think they'll have a better idea of how to handle those top 2 guys. And then it just, for the other 3, it's hard because you have scout team. There's just not that many reps to go around, and that's a lot of quarterbacks. I remember when Troy and I were battling, splitting with him was too much. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Let me get out there. But it's a credit to the to the program, to Ryan Day, to Chip Kelly, that all those guys stayed and realized, like, listen, this is a long process. Two of those guys are freshmen who should have just been graduating probably this weekend. The other one is a guy who is a young guy who didn't expect to play last year, but he got thrown into that fire in the Missouri game. I think they're just looking at it as like, listen, we're going to continue to be here, continue to train under these guys, figure out how to be a quarterback. And we've seen how quarterbacks under Ryan Day can go to the NFL and have a lot of success. So I think, it's a compliment to Ryan and the coaching staff keeping these guys there and just, hey, you're not going to get as many reps as y'all want, but this is just how it's going to go. And, we'll figure it out and you just stick with us and keep doing what you're doing. We're going to teach you how to be a good quarterback here at Ohio State.
Justin Zwick with us, former Ohio State quarterback here on Rothman and Ice. So if I asked you whether you think this is a true competition, it sounds like you would say, yes. But if let's just hypothetically say he picks Will Howard and he starts that game one against Akron, would you feel like that Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall is a little bit of continuation of tryouts, or whoever gets that starting job is got a huge leg up and it would almost have to be his job to fail? Or do you think this continues into the season a little bit, that Ryan Day and Chip Kelly would want to see under the lights against competition?
Well, I think with those, games that you mentioned, it's not a bad thing to maybe take it into the season and say, hey, listen, we want to get you guys out there with some live bullets because we're not going to let them hit you during camp. We want to get you out there under that situation, see how you handle it. Those are games where both guys should be playing no matter what anyways. So if you do give Will the nod, just, he's got the experience. He's the old guy. He's been through this. We feel more comfortable throwing him out there as day one starter. But in your back pocket, we should be smoking these teams and we should be getting Devin Brown a lot of good play time in there as well to see what he's able to do, under the bright lights. So I think they're in a good situation there. And it kind of happened that way a little bit last year. With that competition going into the season, and it's like you had a couple games where it's like, all right, let's see what these guys do here, under some live action, and just Kyle stuck it out and won that, through the rest of the year. So I think it could be possible. I don't love going all the way into the season with a quarterback competition. I think for the mental of a quarterback, if he is going to be your starter and you have an inkling that he's going to be the starter, I think giving him that confidence in the middle of camp, saying, hey, we really like what your offseason looked like. We love how you started camp here. You're going to be our guy going into this season. That just gives quarterbacks, a little bit more confidence. Not that we typically lack confidence, but it just gives you that little feel of, all right, yeah, this is my team. I want to go do what I came here to do, but this is my first step by being named the starter and being on the field.
Let me ask you this. What early feel do you get? How close is this, do you feel?
I think it's close. I think these two guys are very similar as far as the way they want to play quarterback. I think they're both guys that will put their head down and do that quarterback rush game, keep plays alive with their legs. If something breaks down, I think they're both strong, big dudes who could break some tackles and that sort of thing. And then I think there's maybe some consistency problems in throwing the ball with both of them at times, and that's something that you can fix and, you can work on. But, I think they're very similar quarterbacks. I think you just look at Will Howard and say, well, he's got a couple years of starting under his belt, a championship at Kansas State. This is probably something where we want to see him, unfortunately for Devin, he's been here the longest, but, he's only had, short amount of playing time in the one game that he was supposed to be starting playing the whole one. He got hurt. So, it's just been kind of a run of bad luck, but we also know from his, social media, he's not going anywhere. This kid wants to compete and he wants to be, he wants to be a Buckeye and compete. And, and I think that just makes the room better. And it can't hurt you to have somebody like that be a part of the quarterback room. But I would be surprised if he comes out and just shows them something like, oh, okay, Devin, we're putting you over Will at this point in time. That would surprise me, I think.
Jay-Z, great stuff, man. Awesome to reconnect. We'll have to have you back soon. Be well. Hopefully we'll see you on a golf course sometime in the short future.
Or maybe a Roosters location.
Or a Roosters location.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Either one I'm down for.
All right, my man. Good to talk.
Right.
Thanks for the insight.
Yeah, thank you. You guys have a good one.
Justin Zwick with us. What a story he is. We didn't get to the part. We'll probably have to have him back again this summer about the stuff that you and I were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine he was probably ranked, I assume he was ranked either the best quarterback coming out of high school or one in the top two. Imagine now, and maybe I'm glad I didn't bring it up because you're probably like, I wish I could advance. If I could be Justin Zwick instead of 1997 or whatever coming out, and now, all these years later, 25, 27 years later, imagine signing for the money these guys are getting.
There's a lot of what ifs there for Jay-Z, not just with his recruitment, but then, if a certain catch is made and maybe things look very different, or, the graduate transfer possibility, which really, even that part, we talk about the transfer portal being completely different. Even graduate transfer flexibility didn't exist in the way, when Jay-Z would have potentially been able to capitalize on that. Things could have looked very different for him, but I know that, it's worked out in a way that I get to hang out with him every Monday at Roosters for our show. And so I'm grateful for that, but I'm sure that there are probably some nights that he thinks about the way his career played out in some different paths if things had been different with the NCAA 20 years ago.
Speaking about a Buckeye and money, there's a story that's kind of clashing right now, and that's Marvin Harrison Jr. And I don't know who's being more risky, him or the company that's suing him. We'll talk about it next to the Bulletin. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
The only show where sports talk is eclipsed by food talk. Oh, nuts. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
It's the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. So give your friends something to look at and make this a summer to share and save with a capable Kia SUV like the Sorento, Sportage, Seltos, or Telluride, or a powerful sedan like the fun-to-drive Forte, each backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. And for a limited time, get 1.9% APR for 48 months for well-qualified buyers and $1,000 bonus cash on specially tagged 2024 Sportage and Sorento models. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Financing for 24 to 48 months from Kia Finance, subject to credit approval for purchase of a new 2024 Sportage or Sorento. Excludes hybrids and PHEVs. $21.65 per month per $1,000 financed at 48 months. $1,000 bonus cash on specially tagged models must be applied as down payment. Must take delivery by 7/8/24. Limited inventory. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See retailer for details.
Ready to be the change and have a positive impact on your community? Consider joining the Columbus Division of Police. Starting pay is $70,000 plus, growing to 6 figures after 4 years of service. We offer paid vacations, paid holidays, and health insurance. Do you aspire to complete your degree? We offer 100% tuition reimbursement after you complete your first year of service. Contact the CPD recruiting unit at jobs@columbuspolice.org or apply online at columbus.gov/government/jobs. The City of Columbus is an equal opportunity employer.
Listen up, gamers. Mountain Dew has always been your go-to for a refreshing citrus kick. Now it's also your go-to for gaming rewards. With Mountain Dew Gaming Rewards, you just look for codes under the caps of specially marked 20-ounce bottles of Mountain Dew. Enter those codes online to bank points, and then redeem them for awesome gaming gear. Everything from gift cards, game copies, controllers, consoles, custom Mountain Dew gaming gear, and more. Join Mountain Dew Gaming Rewards now.
Open to legal U.S. residents 18 plus. Subject to program terms at mountaindewgaming.com and 2525. Voter prohibited.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Watch us live or on demand by searching 971 The Fan. Which fan host will awkwardly scratch their privates? Let's find out together. Find us on YouTube, The Fan.
Every shot, every goal, ESPN Bet has fans covered for the biggest moments on the road to the championship. The exclusive sportsbook of ESPN is the only place to find special offers and promotions from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities throughout the playoffs. New users can get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. You know what Rich is up to? He's got Memorial Day sales going all month long. Interest rates starting as low as 1.90% on the 2024s. The Civic LX sedan, the Accord LX sedan, and CRV LX two-wheel drives. And he's going to throw you an extra $1,000 for your trade. He wants to give you the best deal in town, and you will not be disappointed. Germain Honda of Dublin is my Honda dealer in Central Ohio, and hopefully yours on Sawmill Parkway just south of 270.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Rothman and Ice present Buckeye Bulletin.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Don't go through another air conditioner breakdown. For fast, friendly service, call the experts at Logan Services now for a free estimate and next day air installation.
All right, Buckeye Bulletin time. Marvin Harrison Jr., a man and his brand. It feels like we were heading down this road of him going to the NFL, and everybody knew he's one of one, maybe. And there are other receivers that are very good as well. We know the talent. We've seen it up close and personal. So we know that this was no shock on that he was the first wide receiver taken. But there's now a lawsuit against him from Fanatics. So on paper, this is a bad look, right? The bad look was, and it could be on both sides. The bad look first was he's the only rookie not to be in the damn picture, right? I mean, like, so it's not like I know anything, but Pat McAfee apparently did when he went on the air a while back and said live on his show that Harrison never signed an official contract with Fanatics. So he kind of lit the fuse on this. So he said that he backed out of that arrangement with Fanatics because he couldn't agree on the financial terms, which is certainly his prerogative. Other people were coming at him, and maybe there was a better deal. Or maybe I want to market my own apparel. Maybe I don't want to be... He didn't sign the NFLPA so they could market him to all those companies. So that's why I say a man and his brand. He's going to control it. But at the heart of this lawsuit, it appears to be that report from McAfee, who went on that said he had not signed a deal. We start reading what Fanatics is saying now, Austin, and they're saying, wait, we had a deal.
Yeah.
And he signed it, and we paid him, and he was back in October, and we had him inked, and it was all ready to go. And then they started to play the game of, well, we're getting better offers, up yours, and in a way of up your offer. And so, and maybe there was could have been a Freudian slip in there. And so you need to up your offer.
Yeah.
Live radio. And then
they know what you mean.
And then Fanatics said, he probably said that too.
Yeah, that's right.
Fanatics say, wait a minute, we'll produce these offers. We don't want to bid against ourselves. We're not negotiating against ourselves. We already have a deal. And they didn't produce them. And that was their allegation against Marvin Harrison's dad, who was kind of running that show. So now they've sued him. They filed this in New York Supreme Court, and they're alleging that Marvin Harrison Jr. revealed confidential information to ESPN, and those clips that we played from Pat McAfee that day were very misleading. And the company believes that the term that they had signed has legal binding, and it accuses him of then shopping that offer around to get a better deal from a different company. And so there's a lot of proprietary stuff here, and I don't know who looks worse, Fanatics and suing him, playing that risk, or Marvin Harrison Jr., who feels like he's one of one and can play this game. Now, he could put it to bed real fast, but at the crux of this, Austin, is did he get paid by Fanatics back in the fall when he was still playing for Ohio State, and do they have a deal?
Yeah, and I think the answer to that is almost certainly and probably unequivocally yes, that Marvin got paid by Fanatics. And the proof is not necessarily, me just speculating. Like, there are signed trading cards in the Fanatics owns Topps. There are Bowman jersey patch autos with Marvin Harrison's signature on it. So he wouldn't have been signing those for no reason. They didn't buy them from somebody else. at some point, Fanatics and Topps were paying Marvin Harrison for those cards or they wouldn't exist. So his signature, which I assume is also on this contract, is also on thousands of cards, which that's, I think, going to hold up as pretty significant evidence. That is, unless somebody else was signing his autograph, which I find pretty unlikely. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I loved covering him. And if you told me 18 months ago, at that time, when he had shown no interest whatsoever in pursuing NIL deals, he didn't need it. Family didn't need it. He didn't need it. He wanted to focus on football. I would never have guessed we'd be at this point where you had the draft night conversation with the NFLPA or a lawsuit filed in New York. And I think they only filed it, Anthony, to compel him to fulfill the rest of the deal. They weren't even trying to keep him from selling stuff on his own website or pursuing a partnership with Panini for other deals. Like, I don't think that's the situation. They just have a few more things that he has to comply with, and I think it'll go away. So nobody's winning in this situation. They both wind up looking bad, and I think that's really unfortunate that for both parties right now. Like, he should be focusing on OTAs and nothing else.
Right. And it's just, that's why I say in the beginning, it's just not a good look. I don't know if he's guilty of anything, or his family, or whoever his representatives are. But I do know from the other side, and I think Mike Florio pointed this out, was that Fanatics better be right. They have to be right. And to your point, they probably are.
Right.
Because why would they take one guy if he didn't sign it and say, we're going to publicly sue you? Because what that does is it tells every other player that's going to start a relationship with Fanatics, hey, they'll screw you over. Don't do this. Even if they give you a term sheet, they'll call it a long-term contract. Or if you sign this, it means that. I just don't think they're in the business to mess that up.
They're not.
And that's why they're probably in their minds 100% right, because they can't afford to lose this.
They can't be wrong, because it's not just jeopardizing their future. It's the current situation. They still want to do business with Marvin Harrison Jr. Fanatics is taking over NFL trading cards again. They want to be doing business with Marv down the road. And so they have a lawsuit, which you don't file that unless you think you're going to win. Like, generally you don't. But you have relationships with future college players. You want to get this resolved. And also, you're a billion-dollar company. They aren't generally in the business of just handing out $1 million without some sort of legal binding term sheet. And that's, I want Marvin to be in the right. Like, I think that's better for Ohio State, better for everybody. But and certainly better for the kid that I covered for the last 3 years. But I am skeptical. I don't want to side on the err on the side of big business, but they don't generally just operate under charity.
No, and it just makes you feel like he's either getting very bad advice, or maybe he is in the right. Like I said, I don't want to say either way, but Fanatics. The suit is also alleging that this official Harrison Collection LLC is real, and they're the defendant, and he's been selling signed memorabilia through his own website, these photos and helmets and all that stuff. And then they're like, well, the Cardinal memorabilia is coming soon. I thought he had a deal a couple weeks ago. I thought this was all kind of put to bed. And clearly they did not do that.
It's quite strange, because a lot of that stuff is standard and boilerplate every single year. You're going to the rookie premiere. You're signing your Panini autographs for your rookie cards. You're got some jerseys that you're going to put on your tags and photos. Like, it's not like there's a ton of negotiation involved. It's just like your rookie contract. It's going year after year after year. This is what everybody gets.
If he had signed his NFLPA licensing agreement, we thought, okay, this may be wrong. The fact that he also has yet to sign that, it makes you feel like he's just controlling his own market for his name, image, and likeness. And this is where it is.
Or now, somebody is.
Somebody is. Now, the other part is, and this may be his reason motivated to end this, is Fanatics is coming after him for millions. Millions. So that he may have to fulfill. We'll see.
He's one of the centerpiece guys. He's the number 4 draft pick. Like, you don't get to dictate the terms of that. Like, these are billion-dollar companies and billion-dollar partners of the NFL.
Sports Center update here, top of the hour. We'll get back into a deep dive, third hour, and we'll talk about Deshaun Watson. Will he ever pay off? One analyst says this is it. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every basket, every game, every point, every play, from the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar, whether it's a three-pointer at the buzzer to tie the game or a player goes 2 for 2 at the foul line.
Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
The delicious ice-cold taste of Dr. Pepper has a lasting effect on people. Lindsay from Sacramento said,
Pro tip, 40 degrees is the perfect temperature for an ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
why is 40 degrees the perfect temperature for Dr. Pepper? We brought in Sue from Duluth, Minnesota to tell us.
Oh, yeah, I know a thing or two about cold. Oh, that right there is the perfect kind of ice cold for Dr. Pepper. I'd share that with my friend Nancy. She likes Dr. Pepper, too, you know. My cold
All
is...
right, that'll be all, Sue. Having a perfect temperature for your Dr. Pepper? It's a Pepper thing. Inspired by real fan posts.
Hi, this is Bob Capacci. Worthington Jewelers has done it again. Come see our new collection of Glock watches at Worthington Jewelers, where Columbus gets engaged.
1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Open your door to a beautiful Nature Stone basement floor. This is Paul Keels for Nature Stone. Save up to 50% during their May is for Moms sales event. Schedule your free cost estimate today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When you switch and save with Progressive, you could use that money towards scoring courtside seats for your favorite team. Progressive cannot guarantee that you can score courtside seats. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds on average, but courtside seats can be astronomical. Maybe if your team plays in a smaller market, you could swing it. Even still, it's unlikely. Maybe fourth row, which are still incredible seats that you'll enjoy greatly. Savings possible. Courtside, long shot. Switch and see if you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Progressive cannot guarantee that someone really tall will not sit in front of you at the game, rendering your excellent seats just okay.
I can't believe tax season is here already. But look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Buddy Wells. We're 2 weeks away from the Memorial Tournament getting underway at Muirfield Village Golf Club. And earlier today on Rothman and Ice, Tournament Director Dan Sullivan announced that world number one Scottie Scheffler is committed to playing in the 49th edition of the tournament. Some others who made the commitment today include Max Homa, Ricky Fowler, Wyndham Clark, and Will Zalatoris. In baseball, the Reds and Padres are playing the rubber match this afternoon to their three-game set. Right now, San Diego leads that game 4-2 in the bottom of the second. As for the Guardians, they're off today. They'll play the first of three against the Angels tomorrow night in L.A. NBA playoffs tonight, the Celtics and Pacers play Game 2 of the East Finals in Boston. Tip-off is at 8. The Celtics lead the series 1-9. Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, it's Game 1 of the West Finals between the Oilers and Stars in Dallas. Face-off is at 8:30. This update is sponsored by Nature Stone. Schedule your free cost estimate today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Most shows just skim the surface, but Rothman and Ice feel like the biggest story of the day deserves a closer look. It's time for a deeper dive.
Sponsored by Maxima Concrete. Visit MaximaConcrete.com today to schedule your free estimate.
All right, final hour of the program, Rothman and Ice. Anthony Rothman, Austin Ward in for the Iceman today, and we're thrilled to have him. As we get into the third hour, Bobby Bell on a Gold Jacket Thursday, the legendary Chiefs defensive end at 2:33 from Canton. I do want to say this before we get into the Deshaun Watson thing. You brought this up earlier. So there is a new video of Scottie Scheffler's arrest at the PGA Championship in Louisville, and that's been released. There are a lot of people that are reacting to it, what they see. And I did see that Jason Whitlock threw out a cop lied about being dragged. Scheffler complied. Cop overreacted. I was wrong. So he must have taken the leap early. First of all, you can't tell all that from the video, Jason. You can't.
It's another leap.
It's another leap. All this shows is a car pulling up to the entrance, a cop chasing after him, looks fairly aggressive at the window, reaching his hands in the window. The car never pulls away from there. Then other cops are brought over. It's not just this one guy. Now you got 3 cops over there, all in their yellow rain jackets. Scottie gets out of the car. They turn him around. They put him in handcuffs. What we don't know, and who knows if he lied or maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe he did overreact. It could be correct. But when you type cop lied about being dragged, you're only seeing 1:19. Maybe the cop was chasing after him, maybe, because he had brushed him to get there.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is not the only thing that exists. You know, there's time before this that certainly happened, and so we don't know. And I'm not saying, listen, we talked about earlier, it sounds like Scottie Scheffler is going to be fine in this, and that the police department is reprimanding him for not turning on his body cam. That I do know. Now, I assume, what about the other cops that went up? Are there body cams on them?
Right.
I don't know. But the fact that Whitlock just typed cop lied, no, he ran after him. We don't know if the incident of him getting knocked to the ground happened before him driving up.
That's what I think is important to keep in mind when we talked about this, and I mentioned it to you. Like, they can both feel like they did the right thing, and it can wind up like, well, it's just not a felony against Scottie Scheffler. He was perhaps more right in this situation than the police officer was, but I don't know that. I'm trying to evaluate all the information that comes out as it comes out. You cannot make a sweeping assessment about he lied, he didn't lie. Doesn't, like, we don't know. We were not there. It does point, like, all the signs suggest that Scottie Scheffler's public description of what happened, the stuff that he was able to get into last Friday, it does seem to match up with what he described.
Yes.
So the reprimand doesn't look good for the Louisville cop here. And we know that the pants were destroyed. Somehow that happened. I don't know if it was by him getting dragged or what you can now see on the new video, which is a cop running up to this video, knocking on the window and appearing to make contact with the front of the vehicle. There are other things that happen. These are, another minute and a half that we didn't have last Friday. It does seem to support Scottie Scheffler here, who looks like he's probably not going to be facing a felony charge, who is playing golf this week in Dallas, and then will be in Columbus in 2 weeks.
That's it. I'm all for a guy coming back and saying I was wrong. That's very good. You want to own your story. Jason Whitlock wants to own that part of it, that he jumped to a conclusion.
But you don't have to take it this far.
But yes, you jumped to a conclusion, and now you're jumping all the way back to the other side when you really don't have everything. I think for most people, Scottie Scheffler comes off as a great guy who probably did a very innocent thing. Now, you can do an innocent thing and also break the law. It's possible that there was a misunderstanding. Your intentions were certainly not that, and it happened. It could be. But I'm not looking at saying, okay, this is all I have to see. Cop is ridiculous. End of story.
Drop all charges.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. It probably will. And Scottie Scheffler's legal team has no reason to plead down or negotiate, if they feel their guy was in the right.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where we are. But I just saw the video that you showed me, or that you talked about last hour. And so now this new video has been released of, now what we don't know is what happened prior to him getting to the entrance of the club. And that's where we are. You can check it out for yourself. It's all over social media. You and I did want to talk about Deshaun Watson today because there are articles being written last fall, not by CB, but by other people that said, can we get out of this contract? Like that actually was floating around Browns land like, hey, we made a mistake. Get out of it. Listen, there's no way out of this. Yes. That guy wants to double down. Offer him $230 million more just to get it right. His whole career has an asterisk on it right now. We just don't know. I mean, he once looked like a guy that this was great. They got maybe the most talented guy they've had in a long time. But the short answer to getting out of this is, well, I shouldn't say no. I should say not yet.
It's a poison pill. You might as well, for the amount of money that you're talking about, see what you can get out of Deshaun Watson. You have no choice.
The soonest they could actually cut him without losing tens of millions of dollars would be 2026.
Yeah.
And that's the final year of his deal. So there's no reason even to discuss that. It's just not happening. The dead cap hit of over $100 million would be...
Can't do it.
No, that's not right. But the Browns could at least now... Because the other thing they want to do is not only do they want to be right, they think they can be right by the fact he's now maybe healthy or healthier, and they got a shot at this. Marcus Spears talked about it, the former Cowboy himself, and I'll let you hear it and then react to it.
I don't know if he's ever going to return to the player in Houston. That player in Houston was a guy we had on the same pedestal with Patrick Mahomes. I'm not sure if he ever gets back to that point with his production and the things he was doing. This is a show me year for Deshaun Watson. And look, unfortunately, his availability has been rocked by some injuries, significant injuries, by the way, that you can't perform with. But you said it, Tim, 5-year, $230 million, that's a financial anchor. We going to be the hell with that anchor if he don't perform well or if he's unavailable. Listen, this is the National Football League, and I get it. We've had a lot of nuance and a lot of discussion about Deshaun Watson getting back to the point where he's playing at a high level. He has to play at a high level this year. This is the year of demarcation for Deshaun Watson, if this was a good investment or not. And if not, unfortunately for the Cleveland Browns, it's going to look like the worst acquisition that we've seen in this league probably ever.
Ever. The part that is interesting to me, Anthony, is like, oh, well, this is the prove it year. I mean, if you look at how much has already been invested in that deal, which is, $100 million already, you already know that it's been a wasted investment. It's already that, like, make or break or prove it. Like, I don't think there's anything he can do short of winning a Super Bowl that would make this amount of money worth it. Now, that might seem like a pretty obvious thing to say. Like, if you win the Super Bowl, it was all worth it.
I'm a little short on that. I'm a little shorter than you on that.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think you raise a good point. They've made the playoffs one time, and it wasn't by him. It was with Joe Flacco.
Right.
Right. So, but
it tells you how good the rest of the roster is.
If you told me that Deshaun Watson had a really good year and the Browns won 2 playoff games or got to an AFC title game and lost to Kansas City or somebody big in the AFC, I'd be like, okay, now, because it's not easy to win a Super Bowl. We know that. And it's certainly not easy for teams that have never done it. And for this guy who hasn't been healthy, I get it. But if you told me the Browns made the AFC Championship this year and lost, and Deshaun played decently, maybe not great in that game, but they got all the way there. Like, you know what? I feel like they chased this money and actually got a lot for it. Like, yes, you sign him hoping you're going to win a Super Bowl. They all do. And they paid him enough money that you would think that, yes, anything short of that would sound like a failure. But maybe I'm a prisoner of it's been so bad. I'll take that, and I'll feel like that's a victory. But if you're in the camp of they'd have to win it or get there.
I think they have to win it, honestly. And I understand what you're saying. I don't think that you're wrong about that, because for Cleveland to get back to that point and to make a deep AFC run, and with really one of the best, deepest AFCs that you're ever going to find. Like, it is no cakewalk to get just to the AFC Championship game or even to win one playoff game. I understand that that's significant. And for the Haslams, they may be able to say, well, look, this was worth it. We got a run. We took a big swing. We took a big shot, and we got to this point. I look at the amount of money invested in the previous couple of years and the PR hits that you had to take for this particular player off the field to get to that point. And
fully guaranteed, 5-year deal.
And what you had to give up to get to that point. And I just feel like, well, this better get you all the way, because otherwise it doesn't make it worth it in my mind.
I don't know if owners look at it that way, because they're printing money and they feel like, I don't know how the balance sheet works on whether the $230 million is, I'm certainly they're still operating in a pretty good profitable area.
Yeah.
Being an NFL owner. But you're right. He's been flat out horrific as far as the money goes. It's been awful. And you just have to hope that no one would trade for him. You can't cut him. He's your guy. You paid, you made this bed. Now you have to lie in it. So I'm more confident. Stefanski actually talked about him throwing. Now, this is his coach, so we'll take it for what it's worth.
he looked like himself to me. I've been able to watch him the last couple weeks now that we've gotten into phase 2, so I've seen him throw. He's making great progress, and we will continue to just follow the medical team on this. We're rotating days for now. That will change as we get into mini camp, as obviously when you get into training camp. But for right now, he'll be throwing every other day.
Okay, that's good. That was actually the question I was looking for yesterday, which was, why does he have a rest day? Where are we with the rehab? And that looks like they're being very careful with it because they have to be. And he had a pretty serious injury that he tried to play through, and it's a bad deal. It's a throwing shoulder injury. This is the risk when you pay guys that kind of money and you guarantee it all. And you mentioned, not forgetting about the off-field stuff. They came in with a horrible PR situation that they had to navigate that, and I don't even know if they did a good job. It didn't feel like they did a good job, but now we all have fatigue over it, so we don't need to go back and
Right.
talk about it. But, yeah, no, they're in a situation now where he better be good, or his career has changed forever, and they go back to being the old Brownies again.
And the other thing that amuses me about Marcus Spears putting it in those terms, Anthony's like, okay, prove it how? He's going to get paid. Like, make or break your career, how? Like, I know that Deshaun Watson is a competitor and wants to win. I don't think anybody can really question that part of it.
I think he only meant proving that you're the guy that they paid for, which was a really bona fide star in the league.
But that guy may never come back for reasons that have nothing to do with that. You have injury and you have the missed time. Like, everything derailed the progress. And 2018 version or Clemson version, like, I don't prove that. I don't see how that is even possible.
It looks horrible because they were so desperate that they signed a guy and gave him all that guaranteed money who had to then serve a massive suspension based on the stuff in Houston. So right now it's a disaster. You're right. And like I said, he's got more than just this year. It's not, so when Spears says it's just this year, it really isn't. I mean, if he improves this year, okay, they have something to build on and they could still have a couple more seasons out of him. There's still hope.
Right.
But yeah, they gave up 3 first-round picks. Also, let's not just talk about the money. You gave him a fully guaranteed 5-year deal, and you gave up 3 first-round picks to get him.
And nobody forced them to do either thing, either the contract or the trade. They did this, and
Haslam wanted to be the guy that finally delivered it. He's to Cleveland.
Bidding against himself to try and do it.
All right, we come back with the pre-snap read. There is another guy that says it's not about the money. Okay. We'll believe that. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
When that alarm clock goes off, Morning Juice comes on. The perfect way to dominate your day or just lay around the house. Morning Juice.
Weekdays at 6.
The Fan.
Billiards Plus has everything for the master griller in your house. Come to their showroom, open the lid, and feel the difference in their grills. Professional, top-quality equipment at great prices with a huge selection ready to go home with you. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Don't miss a minute of the action on the diamond with ESPN Bet. The exclusive sportsbook of ESPN is the only place to find offers and promotions from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities, including daily odds boost and home run specials all season long. New users can get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Are you confident letting just anyone on the roof of your home? I'm Craig Schottenstein, owner of Schottenstein Roofing. Our team is dedicated to delivering outstanding value on every roof we repair or replace. Schottenstein Roofing. Go to schottensteinroofing.com.
Hey, Mountain Dew drinkers! It's the Mountain Dew Baja Blast 20th Baja-versary. 20 years of Baja Blast being a Taco Bell fan favorite. To celebrate this year, the tropical lime flavor of Baja Blast is in stores everywhere all year long. 366 days. That's right, it's a leap year. And for a limited time, you can collect coins for a chance to get Baja gear or a Taco Bell deal. The Mountain Dew Baja Blast 20th Baja-versary.
No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents of US 18+, subject to official rules at BajaBlast.com and 6/15/24. Void where prohibited.
Some people just know there's a better way to do things, like bundling your home and auto insurance with Allstate. Why make things harder than they need to be? There's a better way to save time and money. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
Grab life by the chicken fingers and savor the day with hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and that secret cane sauce that makes everything that much better.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
With spring ball behind us, we're officially gearing up for the most anticipated football season ever. Excited, nervous, terrified to your very core? Think of us as your emotional safe space. Always your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. You probably heard me talk about Dr. Mark Levy's custom-fit oral appliances to help treat sleep apnea and how they are so much better than using those bulky, uncomfortable CPAP machines. Well, I've been talking about it for years, and the FDA just recently announced a recall of over 18 million CPAP masks. Yikes! These CPAP masks, the ones with magnetic headgear clips, can potentially interfere with certain medical devices. Pacemakers, implantable defibrillators, neurostimulators, aneurysm clips. And if that happens, that can cause injuries not only to yourself if you use these masks, but also your partner as well. Sleep apnea is no joke, and as I've been saying, it affects everyone in the home. So if you've been diagnosed with sleep apnea and you can't tolerate your CPAP machine anymore, or, just flat out worried it could possibly do harm to you, that sort of thing, call Dr. Mark Levy today for your custom oral appliance at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's right. Dr. Mark Levy, 1-800-MORE-SLEEP, or book an appointment online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
This is the sound of a popular American motorcycle. It's the sound of freedom, the open road, really good times. And this is what it sounds like with a drunk guy on it. How do you like the sound of that? Cops are cracking down on drunk motorcycle riders. If you ride drunk, you will get caught and you will get arrested. Drunk riding, over the limit, under arrest. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Flexible, secure, fun. Oh, and great pay, too. Are you not sure what you want to do for a career? Or are you thinking of changing careers? Being a dental hygienist or dental assistant may be the perfect fit for you and provides all of these perks, plus more. Talk with a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org to learn more. Become a valuable member of the dental team and start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Let's get a look at your weather report through the afternoon. We're going to go 80 degrees for the high under partly sunny skies. The best chance of rain will come between about 3 and 6 p.m. this evening. Tonight we get down to 65 degrees. Tomorrow, look for partly sunny skies. Slight chance of a pop-up shower with a high of 82. I'm Doppler 10 meteorologist Dylan Robichaud on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365 is the exclusive online sportsbook of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Rothman and Ice present Pre-Snap Reads.
Sponsored by the Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
A little Bet365 time, because at Bet365, we don't do ordinary. And you can see for yourself when you sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. All right, I'm going to the NBA. I'm taking the play off my boy Alex Caruso because I think it's a good one. And I'm going to go with Al Horford under 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined. He's 17-4 on the under over his last 21 playoff games. And he has less than 10 shots in 21 of the 23. Now, he has 15 shots in back-to-back games, but, this has to go way down in shots. He has not beat this line in 3 straight playoff games since 2022. Let me say that again. Horford has not beaten this line in 3 straight games since the second round of the playoffs 2 years ago. If he does it now at 37 years old against a Pacers team that defends centers tougher than any position in the last month, then you lose the bet and you call it a day. But I'm going to go with Al Horford under 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined.
You're on the right side of history when you got that track record. So you don't win every bet that way, but you got a good shot at it. I'm riding this week, Anthony, Maverick McNeely. I'm going the long shot, and I'm going for the win. Plus 6,500 at the Charles Schwab.
Maverick McNeely. Do we know what he's done today?
He's just teed off.
Okay.
I've got him in my one and done, and I need a little extra juice to get him going.
At Valhalla.
Hey, so
I don't know how he finished, but he started well.
He's been pretty good down there on this track, down there, Colonial in Texas. So,
okay.
It's a strong field, and Scottie Scheffler's in it, so he's the safer bet. But I want a long shot. I want a little action.
No doubt. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Remember, Bet365 is the official sports betting partner of the Cleveland Guardians. You can download the Bet365 app today. Got to be 21 or older, must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
I like Dak Prescott. Good guy. Signed an SI cover for me at the Super Bowl, right, CB? Chased him down on a sleep number bed. And I'm still hoping that pays off. We're going to put it in the charity golf outing, but I won't put it in there until he does something because I want it to go for something nice. He's on the path for another big payday. We know that. What he said today was either very genuine but also laughable because this whole love of the game, and I'm not here to tell you he doesn't love playing football. He's already become a wealthy man with that first deal, that $40 million deal each year, the $160 million. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's a guy that can say that I don't necessarily, that the money isn't what drives me, but he did talk about it.
Business is business. I'll leave it where it gets handled. Right now it's about being my best for this team right now in this moment. OTA's helping these guys out and just focused on that. And I know my business will take care of itself. And so been in it before, experienced, and just controlling what I can right now.
Why have you been able to be so patient when it comes to the business?
I don't play for money. Never have, never cared for it, to be honest with you. Yeah, would give it up to play this game. So I allow that to the business people to say what it's worth, what they're supposed to give a quarterback of my play, person of my play, leader of my play, I guess you can say. And for me, it's about, as I said, control. I can control and handle that part, and the rest will take care of itself.
So it's kind of old school. It's not what the money, how much money, it's what the money says kind of thing.
Never cared for money is a weird thing to say.
Nobody wants to hear that because we know it's not truly true. Now, there are guys, and I'll give you the perfect example because I always question Matty about this because we've had this conversation. If I win the lottery, I'm out. He wins the lottery, he says he's staying to do the show. And
No.
I'm to the point where, yes, we're at different points in our lives, so maybe he feels like no big deal. I still love it. So maybe Matty, in a way, pulled a Dak by, I don't do this show for the money. I do it because I like it, but eventually, at the end of the day, I have to get paid. Dak it's just, nobody wants to hear that because no one believes it.
No, and I want to see one of these quarterbacks actually back that up by turning down the maximum amount of money. The last one who really did that was Tom Brady, and he rode that to a lot of success and a lot of trophies. So, like, you just see it every time. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, even down the road. Like, you have to, eventually somebody's got to say, well, the money's not that important, and spend it somewhere else.
He could go to Jerry Jones right now and end this by saying, just compensate me the way I've been compensated. I don't need to make 55. Continue to pay me 40 and we're good, and they'd run to get a contract. So what he's saying is not truthful because there's only one guy that could put that to bed right now, and that's him.
That's right.
Could go right to Jerry Jones and say, it's not about the money. Throw me the regular deal, and here we go.
Yep, absolutely right.
Yeah. All right, we'll come back. It's a Gold Jacket Thursday. Bobby Bell, the old fearsome lineman of the Kansas City Chiefs back in the day. He'll join us next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The standing room only, with all eyes on the 18th green.
There was some speed to this.
The sudden roars.
Gauged it just right.
That Sunday celebration.
From Oslo to Ohio, Victor Hovland is the champion.
It's better live. Join us at the Memorial Tournament presented by Workday, June 3rd through 9th. Visit memorialtickets.com today.
O'Reilly. Improve visibility and save $8 instantly when you pick up a new pair of Bosch Icon wiper blades in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Bosch Icon wiper blades have up to a 40% longer life than other premium wiper blades. The professional parts people will even install them for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, it's Anthony here for the Good Feet store. You know, we do a segment on the show every week called Pressure, but that's about sports. What about the pressure your feet endure every day? I know mine did. When I went to the Good Feet store, I learned I was out of line. I joked, I already know that. They said, no, physically, my feet weren't being supported the right way. So when I went to the store on Polaris Parkway, they also have one on Stringtown Road, I took all the time I needed to walk around the store to see what felt and fit the best in my shoes. Once I had them in, my personal arch supports from the Good Feet store, my lower back pain went away. What a feeling. You need to get your free personalized fitting by one of their arch support specialists. For arch supports to be effective, they require precision fit. That's why Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store. You like them? You can wear them home. You have nothing to lose but the pain. So go to goodfeet.com today or go in and try the Good Feet feeling. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief, all from the Good Feet store.
The Memorial is coming, and we'll be there, and you'll be there, and we'll all be, you get the point. The Fan is broadcasting live from the Memorial.
Sponsored by Ohio for Responsible Gambling and Orthopedic One.
The Fan.
Now at UDF, buy 3 everyday favorites with UDrive Plus to quickly stack an extra 20 cents in gas savings. That includes drinks like Coke and Sprite, Pepsi, and Mountain Dew. And that adds up. UDF, made for you. Specially marked products with an opted-in UDrive account.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a room of rejected mascot memorabilia. Is it real? No one knows. But we do know NJM is proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM.
Hey, it's Bobby. When you have a large investment like a new roof, you want to work with a company you can trust. One with 30 years of experience and hundreds of 5-star Google reviews, 0 complaints with the BBB. That's Newman Roofing. So go check them out at newmanroofing.com or give them a call at 614-NEW-ROOF.
Billiards Plus has everything for the master griller in your house. Come to their showroom, open the lid, and feel the difference in their grills. Professional, top-quality equipment at great prices with a huge selection ready to go home with you. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
Wouldn't it be amazing to turn your backyard showcase into a tropical paradise? Impossible, you say? Not when Oakland Nursery is involved. Create an island retreat in your own backyard during the Parade of Color at Oakland. Tropical hibiscus, palm trees, mandevilla, gardenias, citrus and banana plants, flowering cannas, and more. Bring that tropical vibe of the islands home with you. Add bright, lush, exotic tropical color everywhere. Dream a tropical dream during the Parade of Color. Since 1940, color starts at Oakland Nursery.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The perfect ratio of sports talk, dogs, pro wrestling, and gambling advice.
It's science.
You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
All right, welcome back into Rothman and Ice. What a thrill this is on a Gold Jacket Thursday here on The Fan. And you go back in history, for a lot of you young people, you'll want to listen up. Open your ears, because this man was the very first Kansas City Chief to be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Played in the first Super Bowl, then won it, came back, beat my Vikes in Super Bowl IV. Hall of Fame class of 83 after a dozen remarkable seasons in Kansas City. He is the outside linebacker, Bobby Bell. Good to have you, Bobby.
Hey, it's good to be here.
You're back in football heaven.
I want to know who your favorite team.
You know, I grew up a Purple People Eaters guy. I'm originally, you knew that. I grew up with those Alan Page and Matt Blair and all those guys, and obviously you're running around wanting to be Fran Tarkenton and scramble. Although I probably wouldn't be able to get away from you. But that was the team, and as long as you mentioned it, let's go right there. You guys were a massive underdog against my Vikes. Joe Kapp was the quarterback, not Fran Tarkenton. But Hank Stram had you guys believing. Why did you think, and why were you able to just pound my Vikings in Super Bowl IV?
Well, this thing, we was a wild. Well, hey, we wasn't even supposed to be there.
Right.
Wild card, we don't have a chance, And I know the people, the Vikings, they kind of say, well, listen, we're just going to walk in and knock them over and take the game. But, going to get there, we had to play the Joe Namath at New York. And they said, no way. Then we had to go out and play Oakland and come there. I mean, we weren't supposed to be there. You know, that year, Lenny Dawson did not play in 7 games. I mean, that year, Mike Livingston was a quarterback. And everybody was underdog. But we felt that we had the best defensive team in the country.
Man.
We had the best defense. In the last 7 games, a team scored just maybe 1 touchdown or none on us. And we was in the game. We scored more touchdowns than the offense was. But we were in there. You know, I tell you a story. At the Super Bowl, Lenny Dawson came in. The defensive room said, "Hey guys, what do you think? How you think we're going to do?" And we just told them, said, "Lenny, we don't think they can score a touchdown on us." And Lenny said, "What?" He walked out and said, "Okay." And that's how we approached the game. You know, there's no way, because we felt we were stronger than the Viking was, and we went out on the field. I think we let them score a touchdown in the last quarter of the game.
Yeah, you handled them.
Oh yeah, Joe Cap. You know, I got to meet him 6 months later. You know, he said he'd never been physical or beat like that before, because he wouldn't talk to a lot of people after that. And then Coach Stram, we did some things that they had never seen before. You know, we had a triple stack. You know, we did different moves on defense. They couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I became a good friend with Bill Brown, though.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, listen, you were as respected as anybody that played the game, and you guys didn't have that cool little nickname I dropped, the Purple People Eaters. You guys just went out there and handled business. But I think it's very interesting now, and you're part of the residency program coming back to Canton. It's been more than 40 years since your enshrinement. How does Canton look and feel to you now?
Well, I see more people. You know, when I was up here, they had about 8 people up here in the office. Now they got about 70. Everything got bigger. You know, things have changed. You know, when I came here, well, I've been coming back every year, and we had the ceremony out there on the steps. And I mean, I just enjoy coming back because I get an opportunity to meet other football players and Hall of Famers. You know, because the first 10 years I was coming back, you know, they didn't have maybe 5 or 6 Hall of Famers coming in besides the one that's going in, you know. And now I think last year we had 100 and some Hall of Fame that came in. And last year was my 40 years coming back. So I love it. I got a chance to meet a lot of people and got to know a lot of people, got a lot of friends here.
That's fantastic. We mentioned the Super Bowl early on. I believe you lost the Super Bowl to Bart Starr, and then you came back a couple years later when you beat the Vikes. But you mentioned you beat Joe Namath and the Jets along the way. Who do you consider the most dangerous quarterback you ever faced when you went into a game, who you felt you had to prepare the most for?
Joe Namath.
Broadway Joe, huh?
The way he played, you know. I mean, the determination, you know. Joe, I mean, he was there. I mean, he likes to play. He likes to win, you know. And I think Joe Namath is the one I picked, you know. Mm-hmm. I got a chance to play.
I found it very interesting. So in the early 60s, I read that KC was so convinced you were going to go to the NFL and sign with my Vikes, so they didn't even bother selecting you until the 7th round of the 63 draft. But you wind up going to KC. Give me that story.
Well, okay. The Vikings, I played for the University of Minnesota, so I think the Vikings drafted me in the second or third round, third round. So everybody did think I was going because I played there. We won the national champ, Big Ten, all that stuff. They said, well, everybody wanted me to stay with the Vikings. But Lamar Hunt came up in Minnesota because I think the Minnesota Vikings was supposed to be with Lamar and them organization, and they told him the last 2 weeks out or something, you know, they couldn't, they were going with the NFL. I think that upset Lamar, and he came up to Minnesota to visit with me, And I never had an opportunity to talk to Lamar, Coach Stram, or nobody in the organization but Lamar. He came up there, and he was determined to let me go, take him. He's going to take me. I don't care what it's going to cost. And that's what happened, you know. I ended up going to Lamar because the Vikings did not give me the kind of contract that I wanted, you know. And that was in 1963, 62. And, you know, if you look back on them years, you know, that the NFL didn't have that many blacks on their teams at all. They didn't have probably more than 2 or 3 on each team. Some teams didn't have not one, you know. I know Bobby Mitchell, I went in the hall with him. He was the first black player to play for Washington.
Wow.
You know, so
what a time. Lamar Hunt was huge in your life. Founded the AFL and created the team.
Hey, the best thing I think that happened to the NFL is that the Lamar Hunt started the AFL. They gave them some contact and a lot of leeway there. But Lamar started, and they said, well, how are you going to get players? And he went out to the black universities and recruited players. He recruited players, black players. And we had, I bet you, we must have had so many black players that came to the Chiefs at that time, Chiefs, and they went to the AFL. That's what happened. Lamar, you think the NFL will be where it is now? No, I don't think so. And that just gave competition, and that we weren't going to go away. And then when Joe Namath and them won that 3rd Super Bowl, and we played in the 1st Super Bowl, and we came back as a wild card and beat the Vikings in the 4th Super Bowl, that's when the NFL said, whoa.
Yeah.
They is not going away.
Yeah, that little right, whatever clown league they thought you guys were a part of got some instant respect, and you were a big part of that. But I find your story of going to the University of Minnesota, being a small kid out of North Carolina, a small little town, and going up north, and then your evolution of your position, starting as a quarterback, converting to an offensive lineman, becoming an Outland Trophy winner, finishing 3rd in the Heisman. It's an amazing story. Was the dream always to become a football player when you were a kid?
Baseball.
Really?
Yeah, I had a chance to play with the White Sox my senior year, and I coming out of North Carolina. I came from a segregated school. Wasn't that many. I think it was 168 in the whole school from 1st grade to the 12th grade, and we played 6-man football. Played basketball. We won the state championship in 6-man football, and also we won the state championship in the basketball. But my thing was baseball. I thought I was a better baseball player than I was a football player. But I got the opportunity to play football, you know, and going from North Carolina, all segregated school, I went to University of Minnesota, which is a Big Ten. And I never seen that many people in my life. And playing football, my freshman year at the University of Minnesota, and my sophomore year, I ended up switching to the offensive tackle because I didn't want to go home. So I said, I'll play any position if you can coach me. So that's what happened. I ended up doing that.
Great story. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, Hank Stram said I could put this guy anywhere and he would excel, and you did. He's Bobby Bell. He's the former outside linebacker, Super Bowl champion of the Kansas City Chiefs, and Hall of Famer in the class of 1983. He's back in Canton this weekend. You can see and greet and talk to Bobby and hear some more stories. 10 a.m. to noon on Saturday at the Hall. You'll be greeting some fans. You can't miss him. He'll be the one in the gold jacket. And so Bobby Bell is back to where he should be at the Hall of Fame. And when you look back upon your career, I can't imagine the pride that flows out of you, knowing what you just said about playing in segregated schools and trying to make it and then go all the way to the Hall of Fame is probably beyond your wildest dreams. But you're there, and it's just been a pleasure to talk with you, and I hope you have a great time this weekend.
Well, it's a pleasure talking to you. You know, it's good. I enjoy coming back to Canton every year, so I have not missed. And I don't want to miss. I don't want to miss the next 50 years.
We'll be pulling for you, my man. It's great to talk with you. I hope you get a chance to just relive a lot of the glory years, which I'm sure you will with fans and friends. And Bobby, you be well. It's just been a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Bobby Bell, Gold Jacket Thursday here. Intercepted about 25, 26 passes, had a handful of pick sixes. Also, by the way, onside kick for a touchdown I didn't get to against Denver when they kicked it to him. And he said, you know what, I'm not taking a knee. We're going the other way. So they always said he was built in the shape of what they called an inverted pyramid, like massive shoulders, tapered, like 32-inch waist.
He's a newspaper story.
Yeah, he really is. He had the physique to deal with the punishment of the game. And as I said at the very beginning, to be the first Kansas City Chief player ever to be elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So go up there and see him on Saturday. Yeah, the residency program is awesome. They've been bringing back Hall of Famers every weekend, and you can go up there. They want to make this more about the offseason, too, not just enshrinement weekend. So Bobby Bell was our guy today. We'll come back with Tell the Truth next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan.
Your Memorial Day weekend haul can be found with one stop at Meijer. Pick up fresh from Meijer 80% lean ground beef family pack for just $2.99 a pound. Plus, buy 5, save $5 on Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, Breyer's ice cream, and 24-pack Coca-Cola or Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable. And rev up your savings and earn 50 points per gallon of gas pumped at any Meijer Express through June 1st. Get everything you need for Memorial Day this week at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
There's a little slice of heaven in a mountain town escape. A pace of life that's less hurried, more authentic, where people greet you with a smile and experiences feel down to earth, yet elevated. From Appalachian art to wineries and craft breweries, live music to a lively spirit. This is West Virginia. We call it Almost Heaven. Plan your getaway now at wvtourism.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. I need you to listen up real quick. One of the largest manufacturers in the United States for CPAP machines recently announced they're suspending sales of all their breathing machines over problems with the devices. Millions of Philips Respironic ventilators and CPAP machines are being recalled now that they've reached a plea agreement with the FDA. That all doesn't sound good. And maybe you're thinking, yeah, that's why I'm not going to deal with my sleep apnea because I don't want to have a bulky CPAP. Well, this is where you need to call my guy, Dr. Mark Levy. Dr. Mark Levy has dedicated his practice to helping people who suffer from sleep apnea, and he can create a custom mouthpiece for you that stops your snoring and effectively treats your sleep apnea with no CPAP machine. Yeah, he's in network with most major medical insurers and is a Medicare provider too. This is Dr. Mark Levy's passion. He's been doing this a long time. He wants to help you with your sleep apnea and also make it so your partner doesn't want to murder you dead because you snore so much. So do what I did. Call Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or book an appointment online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
The Fan is your home for the Dallas Cowboys.
No, we're not. You can't say that. Take two.
The Fan is your home of the Buckeyes. Yes, that's right. Same thing, but more playoff success. Now give Big Voice Guy another brandy. Thank you. The Fan.
Every shot, every goal, ESPN Bet has fans covered for the biggest moments on the road to the championship. The exclusive sportsbook of ESPN is the only place to find special offers and promotions from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities throughout the playoffs. New users can get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
The delicious ice-cold taste of Dr. Pepper has a lasting effect on people. Lindsay from Sacramento said,
Pro tip, 40 degrees is the perfect temperature for an ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
Why is 40 degrees the perfect temperature for Dr. Pepper? We brought in Sue from Duluth, Minnesota to tell us.
Oh, yeah, I know a thing or two about cold. Oh, that right there is the perfect kind of ice cold for Dr. Pepper. I'd share that with my friend Nancy. She likes Dr. Pepper, too, you know. My coldest...
All right, that'll be all, Sue. Having a perfect temperature for your Dr. Pepper? It's a Pepper thing. Inspired by real fan posts.
Every so often in medicine, something comes along that is truly revolutionary.
Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, former orthopedic surgeon, now National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
I believe this is one of those things.
Dr. Scheinkup is talking about regenerative medicine, something he's practiced, researched, and written about for nearly 2 decades.
The old ways of dealing with joint pain, such as steroids and surgery, are no longer the best ways.
If you have pain from arthritis or injury, you owe it to yourself to learn more about this exciting option, using your own body's natural power to get lasting relief. And there's no better place to learn than QC Kinetics.
There is no one in this country today with more clinics, more satisfied patients, more advanced protocols, or more experience in using this exciting option to deliver life-changing results.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Accurate Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Tell the truth with Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
All right, CB, take us home.
All right, today's National Day of Today. It's National Taffy Day. It's a very, very sweet treat. I know I'm going to get myself some saltwater taffy when I'm down on the beach this upcoming week. But my question to you is, do you enjoy this sweet treat?
Listen, I grew up in the Midwest, far from any ocean. You know, saltwater taffy they're talking about was something, CB, I only read about in books. Yeah, the only taffy I like is on apples. I like that kind of. I don't really... I don't have any real pull for it. It's no pun intended.
That was pun intended.
Yeah, no, I really don't. I cannot get into it.
Yeah, it's how long it takes to chew through the taffy that turns me way off.
So good for your teeth too.
Yeah, and as somebody who had braces twice as a kid.
Twice.
They
took them off and said,
"You're like, well,
not straight enough.
We didn't do it. We got to do it again." So it was like, I don't know, try and have some taffy, and then it would be stuck in there for weeks. So I was like, this is too much work and not enough payoff. So for me, I am and remain out on taffy and, anything, caramels, however you want to pronounce it. My wife makes them. Her whole family loves it. No, if it's got that, you have to take 5 minutes to chew it up, I'm out.
You can't handle the truth.
All right, I saw the other day the Ohio State social media pages were putting out the video asking the players during or after workouts their favorite football uniform combos that are in the circulation. My question to you is, thinking of what they've been wearing recently, what is your favorite Ohio State uniform?
You got to go the white on whites, Stormtroopers.
Stormtrooper unis?
I love it. It looks so good on the road. If I'm dressed in Ohio State, I'd like to see him even wear it once or twice at home.
These aren't you're not talking about alternate unis, right?
Well, the point is that you can choose any of those. The black, they
had some
you could
gray.
probably go with the gray.
Yeah, they had some gray. It was kind of like battleship gray kind of deal, right?
Which one? The Wolf one? Land of the Wolves? That had the weird the black numbers?
The Penn State game, right?
Yeah.
I like that helmet. I know I like that helmet. I don't think any of those really age that well.
I don't. Definitely not.
I go back and look at them. At the time, you're like, okay, this is in a one-off. It's pretty cool. But
the gray one did not age well for me.
It didn't. And at the beginning, I kind of like it. That kind of slate gray and all that with the red Buckeye leaves on the helmet. But
I wonder if I'd have liked it more if it had scarlet numbers on it.
Yeah, black numbers.
It had the black numbers, and because it takes 18 months to put together the uniforms. It was the theme that Mickey Marotti had for a winter workout, and it was a year and a half advance, and they were no longer calling themselves or living in the land of the wolves. It was completely disconnected from that year, and it didn't fit. It's not the color scheme.
I think it was the camo lids that I probably liked, and maybe I'm just letting the uniform come along for the ride.
I did see, in terms of the answers, the most popular one, in my opinion, they chose was the all black, and then they also chose, a few of them chose the all scarlet. So between those two, which are your favorite?
I thought the all scarlets were rough.
Yeah, no, I didn't
bleeding.
Like those.
My eyes were bleeding after the game.
Yeah, the Dark Knight at the shoe, the black ones, the Penn State one, those were pretty sweet because you had the red numbers, you had the red in the sleeve, you had the red and the white in the pants. That one was pretty solid.
Yeah, there needs to be some scarlet. I don't want to be a hypocrite. It just can't be all scarlet.
Over those black. Yeah, it was all over the black unis. So,
did you say I know my truth?
I know my truth.
All right, I saw the other day Peyton Manning said he hopes someone breaks his rookie interception record of 28 interceptions. My question is, tell the truth. Will we see this record be broken in our lifetimes?
The Bears, if the Bears let Caleb Williams go start day one, he's got a good shot at it.
And the seasons just keep getting longer, so you have more at-bats to get to that interception. I feel like, though, if you're getting down the road where you're approaching that, I don't know. It just feels like, could you make it through an entire season? You'd have to have multiple pick games. I'd have to go back into Manning's situation and see what happened. But so somebody would have to get to 29 interceptions in 18 if we go to 18 games. I'm going to say, somebody would break that based on lengthening the season and the fact it's become such a throwing league that we might get there. Although you think a coach would bench a guy eventually to the point where he wouldn't be able to get to the whole thing.
Yeah, I think the days of being patient enough with a Peyton Manning or Troy Aikman who went 1-15 and started that whole year as a rookie, I think those are gone. People they don't want to turn off the fan base. They feel like you have to make a move, whether that's a general manager or a coach, to say that they're still being competitive. They don't have a long-term view. And look what happened to those quarterbacks who took their lumps and what came out on the other side. I'm not saying that that's going to be the perfect blueprint for everybody, a Troy Aikman or a Peyton Manning, but, man, you look at somebody like Zach Wilson, I think fits in that criteria. The Jets were not going to just let him stay out there when he was throwing a ton of picks. They were like, well, we got to do something to be competitive. Let's sit him down on the bench.
By the way, I just looked because I wanted to see how close Brett Favre was to breaking this record, not in his rookie year, but any season. He was pretty close. He had 3 seasons where he had 23, 23, and 24. And that was in his first 10 years in the league. So he got fairly close. By the way, that was in 16 games. So now we have one more, and we might get another. Somebody might break this, but not, you said it would have to be in the rookie year?
In their rookie year, in our lifetimes.
By the way, Brett, I just looked again. In 05, he had 29. So he actually did break this. It just wasn't in his rookie year.
The truth shall set you free.
All right, nice job. Austin Ward, it was great to hang with you, my man.
Thanks for having me. It was a real pleasure. Now I can cross another thing off the bucket list.
That's it. Yeah, was it on the bucket list, really? Hey, it was on some kind of list.
Well, it's like I'm going around the world on a tour.
Yeah. List. I may have to do this someday. Let me cross that off. All right. Well, by the way, tomorrow, J. Lou back in studio again. We'll have a good time with the overs and unders and pressure. Common Man and T-Bone will take you through the afternoon. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
This Action Update is brought to you by Tipico. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Guardians have now won 6 in a row and are tied for the 3rd most wins in Major League Baseball this year. Updating Cleveland's season betting odds. Cleveland is minus 105 to win the AL Central, 11 to 1 to win the AL, which is the 7th best odds, and 30 to 1 to win the World Series, which is the 10th best odds. For your Tipico Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
We always come through for you when you need us to. That's Eco's promise to you. And for AC repair and installation, that means today, not tomorrow. If you have an air condition breakdown, we'll get a tech out to your home today. Or we'll give you a year's EcoFi Advantage membership for free. And make no mistake, we're a repair, not replace company. Our techs are trained to give you all your repair options. Sometimes, though, it just makes more financial sense to replace. And that's where we really come through for you when you need us to. Because we'll replace your AC system same day. No sleeping overnight in a hot, humid house. Or we'll take $1,500 off the cost of your new system and provide you with portable AC units for your bedroom. That's what coming through for you when you need us to means. So if you need AC repair, call Eco for same-day service. We'll get your home cool again. We'll make it happen today.
At geteco.com.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. The crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar. Every bite is better with Pepsi.
Celebrate 30 years of family fun at the Wilds. Book a cabin stay and a zipline adventure over animal pastures. This is family fun. This is the Wilds. Visit thewilds.org and make memories together.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. Good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Open your door to a gorgeous Nature Stone garage floor. This is Paul Keels for Nature Stone. This month only, save up to 50% during their May is for Moms sales event. Schedule your free cost estimate today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow. It's Nature